All right, bet. Episode 17. Pandacast. I'm James. This is Jarrell.
What's up?
What up? Today, just jumping right into it, we're going to be talking about a couple of different things. I watched the first episode of What If, playing The Last of Us Part 2. We talked about, we're going to talk about Uncharted, like real quick, just kind of catch up on little bullshit that we've been kind of spitting back and forth. And then the main topic is going to be Elon Musk buying Twitter. And also anything kind of related towards that and kind of the state of the world. The economic... You saw that stupid-ass video of Jaden? Where he's like looking like a dipshit on a podcast and he's just like... oh my God, like people of my generation, it's like they just want to fucking stupid stuff. And then he's like, I mean, can we talk about climate change? Can we talk about the political and economic state of the world right now? Like that's what he wants to talk about. Like that's where his most interesting.
Forget that, dude.
Yeah, it's like, wow, okay. That's where you're at in your life, yeah. Jaden. Okay. And then mostly we're going to be talking about the Elon buying Twitter and kind of just around Elon. And when we're talking about the political and economic state of the world right now with crypto and things like that, because a lot of interesting things are happening. And just going to, just jump into that as soon as we get past this part. So look us up on patreon.com/Panda Media, where you can check it out, get the show on Mondays. If you want to wait till Friday to get it for free, fucking do that then, okay? But Jarrell, what's up, bro? How you feeling?
I feel good, man. And shout out to this podcast because I remember the last time we talked about, well, not this time, but the time before that, we talked about advertisements and games. And I ended up talking about YouTube and WorldStar. Shout out to YouTube because they sent me a 3-month free trial for YouTube Premium, so I don't have to watch ads for 3 months.
Hey,
hey. Because usually like a 1-month free trial.
Hey, kind of young Jesus.
Try to make it easy.
Hey, that's fucking dope.
Yeah,
I forgot you told me that they did that 3-month trial for you.
Yeah,
that's sick.
So I really appreciate that, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, hey, WorldStar, y'all do something next. I think they actually have skippable ads on WorldStar, but it doesn't pop up all the time. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate YouTube for kind of listening. Like they were like, "Oh, I seen you on the James podcast. Get this 3-month trial, dude."
I can just imagine like a CEO executive, like, man. Okay, Panda Cash, y'all doing something out here? You doing something out here? I got you, Jarrell. James, fuck you, even though it's your show.
Yeah.
You only got 200 subscribers, bitch. I'm like, well, damn, okay. But no, that's dope. That's excellent.
Yeah, we don't want to seem racist, so we're going to give it to the black guy.
Yeah. You be like, anti-white culture nowadays, like Coca-Cola. I bet that motherfucker drinks Pepsi when he's not at work.
Yeah, oh, fuck yeah.
But no, that's dope. That's fucking dope. What else is going on?
Yeah. Well, basically, I was talking about ApeCoin. Shout out to ApeCoin. Like I said, not financial advice, but shout out to the metaverse. You know what I'm saying? ApeCoin is going crazy right now. Today, well, whenever y'all see it, today is April 30th.
Yep.
If you want me to say the date, so yeah. Today, the metaverse for April 30th. I mean, the metaverse for ApeCoin, my bad, came out today on April 30th. And, that coin is going crazy. I'm excited about it. I can't buy no freaking land because I don't have that much. I ain't balling like that, but I got the coin. So I'm excited about the metaverse and then, them implementing stuff. And you can see the world change around us for sure.
Absolutely. If your eyes are open,
Yes.
Not everybody's in the best situation on a day-to-day basis, financially, mentally, things like that. To be able to realize what's going on right now. I think back to Dan Pena. I don't know if anybody knows who Dan Pena is, but he's they call him the $1 trillion man because as of right now, he is, through his training and teaching, created over $1 trillion in marketplace wealth by teaching people to do sales and things like that, become high performance people. He goes, right now, and he's like very angry and yelling all the time. So he's just like, right now is the greatest redistribution of wealth the world has ever known. What are you going to tell your great grandkids when you were sitting around jerking off in front of your computer? What are you gonna tell him? What are you gonna tell him you were doing? Are you gonna be a fucking piece of shit or what? And he's like, he like talks to people like that. So it's like right now
Yeah.
really is the greatest redistribution of wealth the world has ever known. You're having like millionaires and billionaires, literally Elon, giving away insider information like, oh, go to this, and he by him buying and selling and pumping and shit like that, different coins, is allowing people who are
Yeah.
paying attention to get in on these crazy gains. Like, look at what happened with the AMC. Look at what happened with the GameStop thing last year. Was it last year or the year before? Whichever.
Yeah.
I think it was 2020.
Last.
Yeah, it was
Well, it was
2020
last
because
year.
I remember. Yeah, it was 2020, right?
Yeah, like the thing is, I think what happened was 2020 pandemic went down, and then towards the end, everybody was like, "Oh shoot!" And then the start of 2021, that's when things started going crazy.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so it's like you got all these things right here where it's like, dude, like teenagers are becoming millionaires selling JPEGs out of their fucking
Yeah,
upstairs bedroom in their parents' house. Like, come on. If you're not paying
yeah,
attention, you're getting left behind. And again, I'm not even fucking paying attention as much as I should. I'm not doing as much as I should. So it's not like I'm fucking over here like a millionaire talking from a place of privilege. I'm a broke ass bitch acting like he knows some shit.
yeah,
Seriously. But yeah, it's just very cool times. Very cool times if you're paying attention. So start paying attention.
yeah,
Well, oh, I do want to tell this story because it happened last night. And this is unrelated to the topics or whatever. This is literally just like a stupid thing that happened with me.
yeah,
So last night I go to bed and Tatiana comes to bed after she's working a little bit, and at like 4 a.m. we hear like a like noise in the fucking house. Dude, she's like,
yeah,
baby, 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 right, dude. I'm up immediately. I'm holding the door, and I get up at the door and I'm like holding it like shut, and I'm kind of got my foot pressed up against it, kind of like listening outside the room, like, all right, what the fuck was that,
yeah,
right? Because it sounded like an odd noise. Dude, Tatiana, we got these big candles that are like that big, like 5, 7, 6 inches tall, and they're heavy. And she's like, she gets one, I get one. We're like waiting at the door, like, all right, let's venture into the living room, kitchen area. And I just go boom,
yeah,
boom, 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 like on the fucking door, just to like,
yeah,
if maybe scare the person or whoever it could be to potentially like, okay, I know for a fact a motherfucker's out there. You know,
yeah,
like if I heard somebody or heard some shit that was like even worse. Um, Basically, we didn't hear anything, so I'm just like, okay, seems safe. Like a white person horror movie. Let me go check out that. What was that noise? But obviously, it's in the house, so I gotta do something. You know, it's my family. So I open up the door. I like go walking out, and I don't want to turn the lights on, that in case I don't want to lose my fucking night vision. So like I'm looking in the kitchen, and then I grab like 2 knives. We're like casing out the whole fucking house,
yeah.
and dude, you know what it was?
Well,
Obviously, it was not a burglar or anything like that. Nobody was in the house. All the
it was
doors
the
were locked. All the
kids.
windows were closed. No, we go in, dude. Marie is fucking out cold, like, like breathing like that, like a fucking old man. Like it was a suction cup water like duck in the bathtub. So it's
What
like
the
this
hell?
duck. You pour water. You take the hat off. You pour water in it. The water comes out of the mouth and like spins a little propeller thing. And it has 2 suction cups and it's up on the wall. Dude, the suction fell off and it just boom 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 into the fucking. So we're like casing the house. Dude, my heart is like fucking pumping over the little ducky. It was like so stupid. I was like, wow, okay, but it was really funny, and it was kind of one of those moments where I'm like, oh yeah, Tatiana is like my ride or die because in that moment she wasn't scared, I wasn't scared, our adrenaline was pumping, but we were both like, oh, motherfucker in the kitchen, we're gonna get his ass with these
Yeah.
candles, and then it made me realize like, oh yeah, I need to get a gun, like a gun safe, where you can hide the gun or like easily have it put up.
Yeah.
Keep that in my room because it just kind of made me wisen up a bit. Like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because there was one time, and again, this is unrelated, but it kind of just shows like me and Tatiana being on the same wavelength. like just basically communicating telepathically. Like I don't have to say anything. Like she's just on it, like right there with me.
Yeah.
Like you know how like in video games where it's like the AI characters just you're like, hey, stay on me, and then they just like you kill a dude, they kill the other dude. You don't have to say anything because it's like
Yeah.
a game. It's like program. It's like that. Like she's like right there. Like she's my fucking partner in crime, literally.
Yeah.
Because when we were in Africa, we're she's obviously I don't speak French, so she's talking to the motorcycle driver, and we're like, hey, yeah. She's like, hey, go down to this corner and then make a left and then take us to that gas station. That's where our car is. That's where the car is, and or that's where whatever we're gonna meet up with our buddies. Dude just drives past it, doesn't make the left, and then Tatiana's like I'm like, look, even me, I'm looking back like, isn't that a gas station like back there? I'm like, where the fuck this dude taking it? And people do that, like especially because I'm a white person. They automatically think that I have money and they're trying to rob me, right? And
Yeah.
if you're on a, it's funny if you're on a motorcycle as a white person, they're like, oh, you're a fake white. You're not a real white. Like you're broke. Like you got a cheap ass white, basically. And they just make fun of you.
Dang.
Like literally, we'll be walking in a restaurant that somebody is eating at, and they're making fun of you for eating at that restaurant. It's like because you're white,
What the
so it's like,
heck?
oh, you got a poor white. Like he ain't got
Yeah.
money. You'll do anything, bitch, to get a fucking white person. You'll settle. That's what they were saying to her.
Oh my god.
But we drive past the gas station, and then I'm like, I lean up, I'm like, hey, Tatiana, isn't that the fucking where we're supposed to be going? And she's like, yeah, I don't know where the fuck he's going. And like, she's like, yo, you need to fucking turn around and take us back to that gas station you passed it. Da, 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 da. Like she's like arguing with the dude,
Yeah.
and then he goes to stop, and then like he turns around and takes us back to where we need to go. And because what'll happen is, and this happened to Tatiana's sister, the guy like was making talk like she's on the back of the bike. He's talking to her like, oh hey yeah you from around here, you know, like basically trying to see if
Yeah.
she knows the part of town that they're in. And she's like, no, I don't. Right, even though she did,
Yeah.
like she knew where she was.
Yeah.
And what happened, like this is like a legit. What happened was the dude stops the bike and tries to like rob her and
Oh shoot.
basically rape her. Like he was trying to do it. He had a knife and everything. Like he was about to like stab her.
What the
And
freak?
she's got a scar on her chest from where he like stabbed her. And she like grabbed the fucking blade and like part of her finger was like cut off and shit like that. Like it's all healed up. And this was like years ago.
Yeah.
But like shit like that really happens. Like they'll just like they'll be like, yeah, I'm taking you this way. It's like, oh, it's the shortcut. It's the back road. You know, like you see in movies, like people who
Yeah.
are a little naive that get taken advantage of. That's what he was trying to do, or that's what he did to her. And so we were thinking like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit. He's trying to
Yeah.
do that to us. And then when we were talking about it afterwards, me and Tatiana, I was like, that motherfucker don't know I know how to ride a motorcycle, right? And I like all the time, me and Tatiana like will do like wrestling or like fighting or whatever, like, and I'll get her in like a headlock and like a rear naked choke and shit like that. Like, all right, how
Yeah.
would you get out? You know, like how like and she'll like step behind me and fucking drop me on my ass, or she'll like elbow me in the hip like real hard, and like we're like
Yeah.
fighting, like we're legit like. Okay, in this situation, if it was another motherfucker, how would you get out of it? And she basically, not that I'm a great fighter or if I've ever been in a fucking fight, but I'm saying like in those situations, it's like you got to know something. Like do this to drop the guy or fucking whatever. You know, punch him in the nuts, go for the eyes. Like it's life or death,
With
man.
nuts.
Fuck you. Yeah, dude, I'm kicking a motherfucker in the nuts. I'm stomping his knee backwards or some shit. Like he's coming at me. I'm like, dude, shotgunning his fucking knee. I'm punching him in the throat. You know, the sides, the kidneys. I'm going for the eyes. I'm hitting him in the nose. Like I'm trying to put him out or whatever. That's what my thought would be. I'm fighting the dirtiest fight like I can. Whatever's in my fucking hand pocket, I got a spoon. I'm gouging your eyes out. Like to
Exactly.
get away. So, but in that moment, like we were talking about it afterwards, and then Tatiana's like, "Dude, I don't know what I was gonna do. I was gonna like try to grab him, choke him." I was like, "Oh yeah," because like in that moment, I was like, if we got slowed down enough, I was gonna reach up and just step on the fucking brakes or change the gear on the bike or some shit, like or reach up, grab the handlebars and like turn us to put us like to
Yeah.
drop us or stop us.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh yeah, we're kicking that motherfucker's ass and hopping on his bike and robbing him if he thinks he's gonna do that to us, and we're gonna do it before we get to your little buddies that are around the corner if that's the case. Because like
Yeah,
obviously he would like we're two people, he's one person. Like sure, Tatiana's a woman, but and I'm whatever. Maybe he thought he could take us. But most likely, what he was going to do, if it was a legit situation where he was going to do something bad, was potentially
yeah,
take us around the corner to where like maybe his buddies would be held up at or holding up, like waiting, so they can like jump us or something. But nah, we were gonna. I was like, that dude wasn't going home on his bike. I can tell you that.
heck yeah,
He gonna rent another. He gonna fucking get another moto taxi. But in that situation, it was just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, we're on the same level. Like Tatiana is gonna choke the like grab the dude by the neck, fucking pull him backwards. I'm gonna like reach around, try to grab the controls, get us stopped, get us slowed down, like basically let go of the clutch, start hitting the brake, let the bike die, and then
dang,
yeah, that's what we were thinking. That's what we were thinking, and then just beat his ass, stomp him, kick him, like literally kick him in the balls, do whatever we got to do. He's on the ground. Me and I'm cranking the bike back up. Me and Tatiana are hopping on the back, and
yeah,
boom, like, dude, like her friends, like the friends that we were with, are gonna be like, "What the fuck happened to the guy?" It's like, "Yo, he tried to rob us, so fuck him. This is our bike now." Like we robbed
oh
you,
my god,
motherfucker. Like that's what. But the fact that we were talking about it, and she was like, "Oh my god, I was thinking the same exact thing." I was like, "Yeah, dude." I was like gonna say like, "Yo, choke him or whatever." You know, it's like do something. You know. And
yeah,
but we were on the same wavelength. Like I'm not even speaking the language, understanding that he's saying like, "Oh no, it's up here, it's up here," even though no, we know we passed it. Like Tatiana's like,
yeah,
"No, motherfucker, we passed it." He's like, "No, the one you're talking about, the one that's up here." Like he's trying to tell us.
nah, yeah,
So it was like an obvious like, "Oh, this dude's trying to be bullshit."
yeah,
And I just love the fact that me and her were on the same page. I'm just like, "Fuck yeah, babe," you know. And
yeah. I got that chemistry, bro.
dude, I'm telling, it's like whenever me and McGavin are playing Rocket League, like, and it's like a just a cool setup. Like I'll set it up with a pass, he'll fucking like hammer it in, or the vice versa, or like I'll pass it to him and he'll launch it or some shit just to get a good clear from a goal. We'll be like team sync, like SYNC, like we're in sync, and
Yeah,
me and Tatiana are truly team sync. Like when we're thinking about shit, like we're in those situations. It's just like our situational awareness and our ability to read people is so like next level that it's like before it even gets to a shitty situation, we're like, this seems
yeah,
odd. Like our fucking spidey sense goes off like so quick. In like those situations. But man, it was such a fucking funny thing that happened last night. And then with the motorcycle in Africa, like I'm just like,
yeah.
yes, babe, yes. Like she's like right behind me. She's got her phone in case she needs to call 911 or some shit. She got a candle. I got a candle. Like, and dude, I'm telling you, the candles are like good, like 2-3 pounds, like fucking heavy candles. So it's like immediately gonna just boom, just bash him on the fucking head. And then I
What a
grab like
cat.
2 knives and I'm like tapping on shit like shing, 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 motherfucker. You know,
Oh my god.
dude.
Like some Red Dead Redemption shit, like a freaking Motley, like you freaking light the candle, like throw it.
Yeah, like Molotov, just like burn his
Yeah,
ass.
Molotov. Oh my god.
Dude, dude, have you seen The Hateful Eight?
No.
No, it's a good movie. It's like a cowboy movie. Every time I watch it, I want to play Red Dead immediately afterwards. But Samuel Jackson in the movie, he's talking about. He's like, because it's like in the 19 or 1890s or some shit, or 1880s
Mm.
or wherever it's fucking set. I can't remember. Maybe it's like, yeah, it's Old West, and he like the when I say burn him, it's like how he says it. He's just like, I don't care if I gotta like shoot him, stab him, drop a big old rock on the head, burn him, drown him. You know, it's like talking about killing white racist Southerners, like.
Oh my
And he's
god.
like, burn them. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Because he set like this whole fucking camp on fire. But this is a good movie. It's a lot of talking, but like the dialogue's so good. And just for the record, I'm not actually an Alabama fan. I don't watch football. This is just a
They
cup.
lost to Georgia this past year.
This is just a cup that I'm using.
Yeah.
But no. So I just wanted to tell that story because I thought it was so funny last night. And then let's jump into Elon,
Elon
Mr.
Musk.
Musk. That dude is crazy. That
Yeah,
dude is crazy. He's like somebody was talking about it. Like he's a modern day. He's like a true modern day like superhero, kind of like a Batman
yeah,
style, where it's like he's
Batman for
just this
sure.
eccentric billionaire that is for the people, basically,
Yeah,
and he goes against like the high life bullshit that everybody like the social like the elites their
yeah,
agenda and shit like that. And I'm gonna tell you this right now with Elon and buying Twitter, whether I don't know if Trump wants to come back to Twitter or what have you, but it's one of those things where it's like I believe it when Trump is unbanned as far as the free speech thing because when it comes to free speech and saying and the true freedom of speech, like the right, it comes down to you don't have to protect people saying nice things. Nobody's like, I want to be able to, I want free speech so I can say that all people are awesome. You know, it's like, no,
yeah,
you have the protection of speech for the things that would potentially offend people or go against the narrative because that
yeah,
is what's being attacked. People saying, like, oh, man, you can't have an opinion on COVID without getting banned. You can't have an opinion on BLM without, oh, excuse me, getting banned or gay rights or whatever. It's like, whatever,
yeah,
you can't have the dialogue. And I was just having a conversation with somebody at work yesterday where I was talking about my mom passing away. And I'll make jokes about my mom being dead because it's like a coping thing. It's like help like I'm able to deal with it. I've moved past
yeah,
the loss of grief or like the grief and down feeling. But it's like and I can make jokes or make light of the situation because I'm not offended by that joke. Somebody like literally anybody can make a joke and it's not going to offend me when it comes to
yeah,
stuff like that. And the person I was talking to was like, "Oh no, I don't even want to joke about something negative like that." Da 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 da. And I'm like, "But the thing is, you don't even know like because whatever situation they were in. I was like, you don't even know that other person could find it funny or that other person could if the joke. I feel like you can say anything you want as long as the joke's funny, right? And if it makes the other
yeah,
person laugh, you're taking something negative and giving them a positive look at it or like a funny take, and
yeah. I,
it could change their fucking mood.
I feel
And
like we do that all the
you
time.
can make yeah, like dude, I tell this story all the time, and I even told it back to McGavin, where he goes, uh, the day my mom passed away, I call him
Yeah,
up and I was like, "Hey, dude, my mom just died. Like, I got something crazy to tell you. Like, my mom just died. Like, I just found her."
yeah.
And he goes, "Ooh, does that mean you're not getting on Rocket League tonight?" Like that was his
Oh my
response, and
god.
I fucking
Yeah, yeah.
lost it. I was laughing so fucking hard. It was like the
Oh
perfect
my
thing to say.
god.
And years later, I told him he said that. He was like, "Dude, I'm a dick." Like that's what I said. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what you said that night."
Dang.
And but it was so funny. It was so funny. But I was telling the person, I was like, "Yo, you can't put like this taboo on
Yeah,
topics. Like that's the reason why things are so divided because me as a white straight man, I'm not allowed to talk about race or gender or sex or
anything
anything like
pretty
that
much.
because
Yeah,
yeah, it's like I can't talk about like people don't want to hear it. You know, even though I am of the mindset, yes, life isn't always equal for everybody. Like like you have this outcome, you put in this effort, you get this result. It's not equal. Right? It's not always
yeah,
equal. And I get that. However, if life is unfair to everyone, right? Because you can look at somebody like Keanu Reeves. People look at him as
yeah,
like, oh, he's a good person. He's a nice guy, very humble. He does these nice things, like takes pay cuts for movies so he can pay the crew better. It's like he does shit like that, and he's a great
yeah,
guy. He has a couple businesses. He's funny. People love him, right? But then you could say like, oh, he's lucky or oh, he's privileged. But then his wife and kid died. I think like he got another girlfriend and she died or some shit or like his family like he like lost a lot of people. It's like, well, that's unfair. Like look at something
yeah,
like my mom passing away. Like I was 22 when that happened. My dad, like my grandparents were in their 70s, 80s and 90s or their 80s and 90s when they passed away. right? My mom
Yeah.
was 52 or 54. What I can't remember. It's like 54, 53. It's like with that, my mom could have had potentially another 30 to 40 years of life. My dad and mom could have been married for another 30 to 40 years. Like my dad missed out. How's that fair? When my dad is 70 and his mom died like 5 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
It's like he had his mom up until he was like 50, 60, 70 or whatever, right? So I look at that and I go, yeah, if life is unfair to everyone, everybody has a demon in their closet. Everybody has a struggle that they're going through. Doesn't that make life fair for everyone?
Yeah.
And if it comes down, I came across this quote, Tony Robbins: "Life will pay you any price that you ask of it." So if you're living in a victim's mentality,
Yeah. I was about to say that part. Yeah.
yeah, if you're living in a victim's mentality, of course you're asking too little of life. You're asking too
Yeah.
little. It comes back to you. It comes back to the mindset. We say this all the time. But free speech, you do not have to protect nice things. You have to protect the things that people might not want to hear. Like if somebody is talking to a woman about being overweight, or a guy that's being short, or a guy being overweight. Like literally, if you're talking about people with big bodies, things like that, it's like, and just to tell them like, hey man,
Yeah.
it's unhealthy. You know, it's like, dude, you're like fucking body shaming or slut shaming. It's like, dude, no, I'm not. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you that the way you're living your life, again, it kind of comes down to like, okay, let me rephrase this. The way you're living your life, if you are 100% happy with it, man, by all means. But you should, then you wouldn't be upset by me saying, hey, that's not the best thing. Like look at
Yeah.
somebody who's like um smokes cigarettes or like is an alcoholic but loves it. Like look at somebody like Bert Kreischer, he's a comedian. He loves drinking. He's an alcoholic 100%. He loves it.
Yeah.
And if you tell him like, "Hey man, it's really not healthy." He's like, "I don't care." He's like, "I don't fucking care." Because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you're confident in the way you're living your life and you're doing what you want to do. By all means, fucking great, you know?
Exactly.
But if you're overweight and you're getting offended by someone saying that you're overweight, it's an insecurity that you have about yourself. You're not happy with yourself. And you want me to shut up
Yeah.
about it.
I agree.
Nah.
Like
Nah.
that Will Smith Jada stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
That comment. That's
Yeah.
exactly what happened.
It's like she's insecure about the bald head. Even and guess what? Like the video that came out where she's like, "I don't care what people think or say about this bald head of
Yeah.
mine." Right?
That's what she
That
said
was a
before that.
lie.
Yeah. She said that before that happened.
Yeah, that was a lie. I don't know, but yeah, the protection of free speech and Elon. Like, what are your thoughts on everything? I know I kind of went on like a
Uh,
bit of a rant.
r- yeah, real quick when it comes to that stuff because I realized what you said playing victim. And like I said, guys, as a black person, even as any person, obviously racism exists.
Yeah,
I'm not doubting that.
fuck, I'm racist.
But
Not just
uh, see how we can joke about that? Yeah, he's clearly not racist. But what I hear a lot of people say, man, and it's not always the case. You know, you
yeah,
hear like, "Oh man, the white man trying to hold us down," and like you said, that's a victim mentality.
yeah.
The more you say that, the more you'll use that excuse and not better yourself.
What you
The
focus
more
on
you,
expands.
yeah, yeah, what you be like, "Oh man, well that's the reason why I'm not successful because they holding us down." Instead of working your butt off harder, like you said, like how even Obama did, or even Samuel Jackson, Denzel Washington, all these guys like this. Even with all of that stuff that you just said, there's proof that you can still make it
Yeah,
with all of this other stuff. Like I said, racism is there, but the more you focus on that, that's all you're gonna get.
right.
Like James said, that's what I was thinking about. So it's like change your mindset and all of that stuff would just be gone. Like you could just joke about stuff like this. I talk about stuff like this all the time. Or even in the beginning of the show when I was like, "Oh yeah, you two gave it the 3 months because I'm the black guy." Because it's jokes. Because
Yeah.
people actually feel like stuff like that all the time. They'll be
Oh
like,
yeah.
"Oh, it's because he's white because I'm black." So I just make joke of it. Well, I think they call it satire
Uh huh.
because it's all funny to me. People take this stuff seriously, but it's really a joke.
Yeah.
Uh, but I understand, like you said, racism serious, but when it comes to certain things, not everything is like that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So you made me think of three things. So one, like becoming successful in like industries and things like that, and civil rights. Um, the hierarchy of people of color in my job, and then also there was something else that I thought about real quick. Damn. Can't think of it. But all right. So when it comes to like the civil rights thing, right? That you made me think of. Okay, when like let's say somebody like um, Martin Luther King, right? So he's like a prominent civil rights leader in the '60s and things like that, or '50s and '60s, like late '50s, early '60s. Um, I don't know the exact timeline, so don't quote me on that. But March on Washington. Here's the thing: when it comes to people in Congress and the Senate and all this other stuff, it's like if there was the oppression and the racism and things like that, most people could probably agree that there were not a lot of black people in the seats of power, like the Senate and the Congress and
Yeah,
like whatever that are making the laws and things like that. Because if the laws were in place to hold black people at the back or hold people of color or whatever, all races, other than white people back, then clearly people did not ascend to those positions who were POC, right? So in that aspect, when something like the March on Washington and the bus boycotts and all these other things, like with Malcolm X and the civil rights leaders, making headway for the black community to become and in the segregation and basically stuff like that, and the laws
yeah,
being changed, they were making enough noise to get the attention of the people that were in the positions of powers. And if the laws were in place to keep people of color back, they were white people in those positions of powers during the times that the laws were changing. So to not saying that,
yeah,
oh, it was just thanks to white people it got changed. What I'm saying is there were white people that were allies throughout history.
yeah. That was
Like,
marching with him too.
yeah, it's like, and they were also like certain figures and certain people in those seats were vital in making the decisions and passing the laws to make the change and help
Yeah,
out, because not every I'm telling you, not everybody felt that way. So now in this mindset that all white people are racist or all white people are bad or straight white men bad, it's like dude, sure, it was people that looked like me that put you in the shitty position,
yeah,
but there were also people that looked like me that were on the front lines putting their own lives at risk to help out in those
yeah.
situations too, right? And oh yeah, the other thing that I wanted to think about was the hierarchy at my job, and then this one example of like a super petty fucking thing at Olive Garden where it didn't even make sense for this person to think it was racist. It did not even make sense. But
Yeah,
at my job, it was funny. We were sitting at so yeah, basically the civil rights thing is like Underground Railroad, all that shit. Like there were white people in positions of power and seats that can actually help change the laws that were allies that did help. So it's like to have this mindset that all white people throughout history are just evil, fucking racist. It's just like, come on. If that was true, every white person is racist, you'd still be sitting in a very bad situation because nobody would be in a position to do anything about it. Like to change the laws to make things better for everyone. If it wasn't
yeah,
for both sides coming together, like the people that were being oppressed and people that were on the side of the oppressors that looked like the oppressors, that felt like, yeah, this is fucked up. Let's do something about it.
yeah.
You know? So there's that. So maybe change the mindset a little bit on that. But then at my job, it's funny because like when it comes to like the leadership and things like that,
Hmm.
um, like out of all the supervisors, there's one, two, three, four, five, six. Out of the six supervisors at my job, one of them is white. All right. And then if you
Hmm.
go the next level up, one of them is white. And then if you go up even further, the leader of the building is black, right? So out of the six supervisors, there's five black supervisors. When it comes to the team leaders, there's it's like disproportionate. There were more black leads, but then a couple of them quit. So now there's more white leads. But when it comes down, yeah, it's like now there's more. But it wasn't because they weren't hiring. It was just fuck a couple of them quit. So then it threw the balance the other way. Even that, like the general manager probably makes over 100K a year at this job,
Yeah,
at being like the head of the building. And even him is like in the team lead meetings, like, dude, I am a black man in America, like da 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 oppression, da, da, and he was kind of bringing that up, and I'm like, you're my boss. You think I'm more privileged than you right now? Like that shit is like funny to me when even like somebody like LeBron James or Oprah is talking about, or Michelle Obama is talking about the oppression that her fucking children feel. It's like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're a millionaire. I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense.
I guess that comes with uh, like you said. I guess it's you see where you come from and where you at.
Uh huh.
Some people, I guess, it's how they put it out. It's not necessarily. I don't. When it comes like Michelle and them like that, it's more the relatable thing. Like you
Yeah.
said, if you hear people talking about, oh, the white man holding us down by other black people, even though you're rich, you start to think about it like, well, maybe I am being held down, or maybe they are getting held down. So it's like having a voice for the voiceless almost. It's kind of like
I
that.
Here's the thing. I get that, but
Yeah,
it's coming from people who, guess what? Despite the odds of the white man keeping them down and being gatekeepers for them to make it in basketball or the film industry, like you mentioned, Denzel, Samuel L. Jackson, all those great actors, Will Smith, things like that.
yeah,
It's like, dude, if there are gatekeepers and people in the way that are white that are trying to hold you back, they
yeah,
still made it.
yeah, yeah. That's what we talked about earlier.
So, how about LeBron James and Oprah and all them that are in these positions where it's like they've overcome those odds. And yes, you can highlight. Yeah, there was. Oh man, there were so many people that were standing in my way that were gatekeeping things like that. There was a few. There was occasions like, and you can name 1,000 times where you felt like a white person stood in your way and you didn't get an opportunity, right? But you're still a millionaire. You're still making. You still made it, right? How
Well, I
about
see
share
what you
that
mean.
message?
Yeah,
You
change
know,
the
it's like, how
message.
about
Yeah,
share that? Yeah,
yeah,
instead of being like, oh man, the white man's holding you back, to like people that haven't made it or that are like in like these like not so good positions. It's like
yeah.
instead of just reiterating and telling them white people suck, white people suck, white people suck. They're the reason you're this way. How about be like, despite that, I still made it, and you can too.
Yeah,
How about
yeah,
make it a
yeah.
positive message? Not that, oh yeah, white people, whatever. I'm saying like make it a positive message. Like,
Yeah,
despite the odds, if you work hard enough, sure, it's not. Again, sure, it's not fair. If a white person can put in this much effort and get this much result, and you got to put in this much effort to get that much result, sure, it's not fair. And I agree that there are things like that where, dude, there's people with no legs that have to fucking work harder to get somewhere in
yeah,
their life, you know? Or they have like somebody like David Goggins, you know, who's a Navy SEAL. He's like the 15th or 16th black person to go through Navy SEAL training and actually make it. Or 26th, I can't remember that number. But it's like, dude, that guy was like broke, poor, fat, illiterate, fucking whatever. Literally name everything bad that you can be as a person, and he fucking overcame all that shit. And it's not because he's black,
yeah,
but that he was in those bad situations. But it was just like that was just his life. That's where he grew up. That's what the fuck happened, right? And
yeah,
in that, dude, he's gonna be the first one who's like, "Oh fuck yeah, racism exists," but fuck the motherfuckers who are doing it. Like I'm gonna let a dumbass racist get in my fucking head? No, because
yeah,
he's a black
yeah,
dude. So obviously, when it comes to Navy SEALs training, there wasn't a lot of black people that made it through that actually went in to apply. So obviously, he's hearing the N word and racial slurs and shit like that throughout his whole life.
yeah,
That he's dumb, that he's stupid, and coming from people that are teachers that are white that are saying that because he's black, that are actually being racist, still overcame it, and still
yeah,
looks back kind of having the same mindset as you, where it's like, sure it exists, but fuck that, I don't care. Like it's not gonna get in my way,
yeah. It's the mindset that you have to change those words to motivation. Like I feel like
right?
anything that's bad is all motivation. And that's exactly what, like you said, that's the message that people should bring instead of always hate, yeah, this, all the time. Just be like, you know what, like you said, we can overcome it, and then you can be successful too.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Black Lives Matter riots and then the January 6th incident, right?
I talked
They're
about that too. Yeah,
like the news is saying that the Black Lives Matter riots were peaceful protests and like whatever you believe, right? It like whether it was peaceful or not, there were businesses that were destroyed and burned in the black communities that were basically trying to bring light and a message, right? But okay, the cops are the racists. The white people are the racists. So you burn a fellow black man or fellow black woman's business down.
yeah, that was stupid.
Yeah, you really showed us.
Tyler
All
Perry
you did
said the
was
same
make
thing.
yeah, all you did cuz here's the thing. The businesses and things like that, they're renting from the landlord who has insurance policies. You burned the black person that owned that business or that had that business that was working out of that location most likely was renting from a white person who has a very healthy insurance policy on that business. So when you burn the fucking business down, one, you set the black person back because now they're out, their whole life that they've put all this money and invested time into for their business is now gone,
Yeah,
and the insurance policy gets paid out to the white landlord. So the white person became richer and the black person got set back. You really did something, BLM. And
yeah,
again, that's just an example. No specific instance that I can think of that happened, but have the perception that that is a strong possibility that happened
yeah,
countless times. I've heard people mentioning something like that. But when the January 6th thing happened, white people had a fucking problem with the government. They went to the government and banged on Congress's door. Like, hey, motherfuckers.
yeah,
They took the fight to the people who were fucking causing the problem. And I'll tell you this: the goofiest thing I ever saw about
yeah. Go ahead.
the goofiest thing I ever saw about the BLM riots and shit like that, where they're like a cab, all cops are bad, whatever, is on the right or over here. There's a bunch of white people holding up
Yeah,
BLM signs and fuck the cops, fuck the police, right? And then on this side, a row of black cops. And it's like the cops are like they're yelling at the cops like, "Oh, you don't give a shit about black people." Da da da. It's like, motherfucker, I'm black. You think I'm like happy with what's happening right now? Like
yeah,
that was the goofiest fucking shit I've seen, and I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me, right?
yeah,
But then the third thing was the Olive Garden situation. So me and Tatiana's black, I'm white, so whatever. We walk in, we sit down, and we're in the door is to our left. There's a bench on that side, and we're sitting on a bench on this side. So the check-in desk to like put your name on the list is to the right. So it's just like one hallway, two benches on both sides. There's two black ladies sitting across from us on the other
hmm
side of the hallway. We're sitting down, we're just talking, da 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 da, whatever. Like nothing. Who cares? A group of white ladies are coming from inside the restaurant, leaving, and they're just cutting up, laughing, having a good time, fucking walking out, right? And a black dude was coming in, and he just holds the door for him. He holds the door for him. They go out. He walks in. The only reason I remember that part is because what happened afterwards. Like he walks in, he puts his name on the list. He's just like, oh yeah, yeah, da 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 da. And then so the two ladies are here. There's like a good like 6 foot gap, and he sits down at the other side of the bench by himself. And he's just like on his phone, like literally minding his own business.
yeah.
The two black ladies look at him like, excuse me. And he's like, yeah, what's up? Did those women say thank you when you held the door for them? And he goes, oh yeah, yeah. And then he got all like fucking weird. He was like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, when it comes down to that, I mean, I like to call that white privilege. I'm like, the fuck, dude. Like Tatiana and me, like literally, like mouth agape, like looking at each other like, dude, they didn't say thank you when you held the door for them. White privilege. I was like, what the fuck? Like, sure, maybe they're racist. But goddamn, you let that bother you that much? You know how many times I've held the door for people and they've never said thank you? White, black, man, woman, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
any idea? Maybe it wasn't that they were racist, like, oh, a black person's holding the door for me. I'm not gonna, and they're really sticking it to you by not saying thank you, right? That's their that's their little racist victory that day. That's what they chose. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but in that moment, it's like, bro, the amount of times I've held the door for somebody that didn't say thank you, did I give a fuck? No. Maybe they're just an asshole. Or
Yeah.
maybe they were just distracted with the conversation because they were fucking busting out laughing, walking out the door. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, maybe they were just having a good time. Like, every single time has someone that held the door for you, did you say thank you? Every single time. 100%. Right?
Me probably, yeah, but not
Yeah.
all the time has it happened to me, and I was like,
But
okay.
exactly. But it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've had a situation where it's like someone holds the door and I'm like, just kind of like a
Yeah.
nod, or
Yep.
I've
Yep.
blown, dude. Someone's like held the door open and I just blow through it. Like, I've done that before, you know. But you know what's weird? You know how you like hold the door for ladies. Like, whenever I'm going up, if there's a woman behind me or a woman coming up, I hold the door. You know, it's just like,
Yeah.
I'm not no pussy ass bitch modern man who thinks that the world needs to cater to my emotions. I'll still be the man and protector and whatever, right? So I'll hold the door for any lady that walks up. But I also hold the door for any black person that walks up. I specifically do that because it's just like if a white person's coming and they're like close, I'll be like, yeah, here you go, right? But if they're far, if a white person's kind of like semi far away, I'm just inside. I don't care, right? Like,
Yeah.
you got enough privilege, whitey. I'm not holding the door for you, motherfucker. But then it's just like, as a white person, I will tell you this: being around white people, and my family's white, I will 100% guarantee you and tell you this: a lot of the times, white people don't understand or don't know that what they're saying or doing could be perceived the wrong way. It's kind of like
Yeah.
oblivious, you know, and they don't mean anything by it. I can tell you that most of
Yeah.
the time, because if the white community was as racist as everybody thinks they are, we'd be in a lot darker times right now. Like, most people do not give a fuck. I can tell you that, and they just do things,
Yeah.
and it just gets perceived the wrong way. I really do feel that way. And I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist. There's obvious examples where racism is the clear motivation in situations. But what I'm saying is, like, most of the time, white people just don't know what they're doing. It could be taken as offensive, and it's kind of like when a white person like touches the hair. Maybe they're just curious because your hair is different than theirs, and they don't
I don't think that's racist.
and they don't understand that that's racist or that's weird. Like, I get that, right? But most of the time, they lack that eye of like, oh, this could be perceived wrong, you know?
Yeah.
Because I remember one time I was like cutting my grass. I was like edging the yard with a weed eater, and I had headphones in, and I was just listening to music, and I was like edging, and I was like, "Bzzz," right, and I look up to my left, and there was a dude that was like 2 feet, 3 feet away from me, just walking by, and I like, because he like startled me, like I like jumped, like he
Oh,
just
no.
scared, dude, like he just
No,
startled me,
bruh.
because I did not hear him, so I'm just like, "Zzz," and I look at him like,
Oh,
oh
my
shit,
God.
like, because it was a guy right there, and he happened to be a black dude, and
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was
no, boy.
I go back to edge in the yard, but I had the thought, I was like, oh, he probably thinks I'm racist. Fuck, you know, like
Yeah.
like like, see, a black guy, like. But it was just like,
Yeah.
I got like, it could have been anybody. It could have been a little kid. Like, I would have been like, oh shit, like, because I was not expecting to look up and someone literally be like, boom, right there in my face, like. But it's that lack of perception where it's like another white person would have just been like, "Oh man, you scared me, dude," you know, like, and not think anything of it. But me, I'm like, he probably thought I was a racist. He probably thinks I was scared because
We,
he's a black guy. Fuck.
we gotta clip that, bro.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh,
yeah,
clip it and make it a TikTok
yeah,
or some shit.
yeah.
Dude, that is so funny. Like 50 minutes in, I have to
Oh
remember.
man.
But dude, it was so funny. But it's like a lot of people lack that sense of awareness that hey, it could be taken the wrong way. You know. Um, but yeah, like free when it comes to free speech and Elon buying Twitter, it's like you don't have to protect nice talk. You know,
Yeah,
you got to
yeah. I
protect.
actually read you a tweet he actually said because what she was talking about. He said for Twitter to deserve public trust, it must be politically neutral, which effectively means upsetting the far right and the far left equally.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
right. Someone should be able to go on there, and again, if it's like true misinformation, like oh, Obama sacrifices babies to I don't know, whatever. Michelle's a man, you know, like what like
Oh my
if it's
god.
like complete bullshit, then yeah, it should be like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. Take that down. Or the comments are going to correct it because people are going to
Yeah,
come with the counter argument to it and be like, no, this is bullshit.
yeah,
Like it will be a self encapsulating fact check. Like you don't
yeah.
have to have a third party that is politically influenced to fact check only one side, you know?
Exactly.
Because the comments fact check you. Like if you are talking bullshit,
Yeah,
people will be like, nah, this is bullshit.
and
Bullshit.
that's
Bullshit.
why a lot of people was like, when YouTube took away the dislike button, that's like taking away your freedom of speech, pretty much.
Yeah, because you can't
If
downvote something that sucks.
Yeah, and a lot of people was like, that dislike button was so helpful because sometimes people scam. It could be like some bull crap. You can download a virus on your freaking computer, like
Yeah.
anything. They can be like, oh no, if you not seeing a dislike button, that's messing up everything. Now everybody is like probably gonna be more scammed. Everybody gonna follow this person, follow that person, and I think they said, well, if I go to my YouTube thing right now, you can see the people, how many people dislike it.
Yeah.
So it's not like the person doesn't see it anyway. So it makes no sense if you really think about it. If I can
Yeah.
still see it, what's the whole point of not letting everybody else see it?
The reason why they did that is because it goes against the victory of Joe Biden. Because
Oh yeah, they was just liking the heck out of his
yeah,
videos.
like dude, like a fucking crazy amount, like a million dislikes and like 10,000, 100,000 likes. It's like just complete flop. Where it's like it just showed how many people did not vote for this man.
yeah,
And when it comes to like that, there was that right, and it was funny because AOC she was like, oh yeah, we're gonna create a list of all the people that voted for Trump, and then kind of concentration camps, like correction facilities. We're gonna fix them, right? And that idea immediately got scrapped because if you made the list and there's 100 million people on it, clearly Joe Biden lost, right?
that's
So they
crazy.
scrapped that idea real quick because it would have brought attention and highlighted how many people really voted for him.
Well,
Because, like, again,
that's crazy.
if 80 million people voted for Joe Biden, but then you got a list together of all the people that voted for Trump so you could fix them, and there's 100 million people, 90 million people, it's like, well, we all know who voted for Trump.
And that's how the people do.
Yeah.
That's how the freaking people.
Yeah. You mean it's, man, you mean to tell me sleepy Joe Biden got more votes than Obama in 2008?
And I feel like I told y'all people that year, probably nobody would have been able to beat them, man, like at all.
No, 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 no.
Like that was like the change. He was gonna win regardless, no matter who
Right.
wins. And like you said, if black people are like, oh yeah, the white man won this down, why did more people vote for the white man than the black man?
Dude,
That makes no sense.
right. Like, in that situation, um, when it comes to like Obama and stuff like that, like there was a dude, Adam Carolla. He is an older guy, so he goes, yeah. In the '90s, you could joke about race, you could, and people didn't get like so fucked up and offended about it. Like people were like more open and honest, and you could like actually talk about this shit, right? And it was like from dude, I mean, just look at it. From the 60s with the civil rights and all that stuff up to the 90s, it's like steadily things were getting better, like things were being brought up and more people understood what was going on. And then it's like he even said like, "Oh, when there's a black president, that's when it will be like the nail in the coffin like, oh yeah, black people like we understand." Or like you understand like there's really no end or no limit to what you can achieve.
Yeah.
And he was talking about it. He goes, that was like conversations in the 90s. Like people were like, oh yeah, when there's a black president, when there's a black president, then we'll know, then we'll know. Then you got the black president and it got worse. It's
Yeah.
like because they hyper focused in on the race divide and tried to blow it up even more. Like race, gender, sex, all that stuff is
Yeah.
shallow segregation. The real segregation is class when it comes to money. Because guess what? A poor white person who lives in a trailer park and a poor black person that lives in the ghetto or hood or also the trailer park, guess what? Their lives are very similar.
Yeah.
The lives are very similar because they have no money. And when it comes
Yeah.
to upper class, middle class, all that stuff, it's like, dude, if you're a black person in the middle class and a white person in the middle class, your experience is pretty common, pretty succinct. It's like
Yeah.
it's just all these arguments and like arbitrary whatever. It's like, man, can we just talk about the political state of the economic state of the world right now?
Yeah, dude. Like, ain't you
Like,
about to be Spider Man, dude? Like, let's talk about that.
right?
Well,
Like,
he probably
shut the
can't talk
fuck
about
up.
it, but say something
Yeah, he
else
can't
too.
talk, dude. Like, that's so goofy.
Yeah.
Um, with the way people think, and it's like again, it goes back to the victim's mentality. You know, like I think
Yeah.
it's great. I think it's cool as fuck that Elon bought Twitter. And people are already coming up with like the weird conspiracy theories with the number and shit. Because it was 4 years ago, 4 months and 4 days that he said that he was going to buy Twitter. And then he did. And he bought it for $44 billion on 4/24 or whatever the fuck it was. And it's like at
That's
4:44.
cool.
And they were saying like something's up with this like number four with this.
Four is actually a good number. I'll see
Yeah.
if it was like sixes or something
Yeah.
or something, but four is actually good.
Well, yeah.
It's, if anything, it's biblical. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And they were saying like I mean people are already trying to come up with like conspiracies and shit like that. And then Elon is like he tweets out, "Yeah, next I'm gonna buy McDonald's and fix all the ice cream
McDonald's.
machines." It's like yeah, bro.
Oh yeah, another tweet by Elon, guys, related to this, and it says, "By free speech, I simply mean that which matches the law. I am against censorship that goes beyond the law, that goes far beyond the law. If people want less free speech, they will ask government to pass laws to that effect. Therefore, going beyond the law is contrary to the will of the people."
Yeah,
So
because
yeah, like you said, free speech is he basically wants people to do it with the law. There is no law saying that. Well, I don't want to say it because people get offended, but you know what I'm saying.
uh-huh.
There is no law telling somebody like you can't say nothing really racist, but like you said, if you tell like a person that's big to work out, that's not
Against the law.
against the law.
Yeah, that's not discriminatory.
Yeah,
You know, like I can understand if like somebody got on Twitter and was like making threats towards the black community or the gay community or whatever.
yeah,
Like, yeah, that person should be like that's like especially if you're making
yeah,
threats, like that's illegal. Yeah,
yeah,
lock them up, ban their account. Yeah. If you're trying to organize a group that goes
yeah.
out
Hey,
and
group.
like performs heinous acts on other people simply because they're black or white or whatever, yeah, that's stupid. That's should be disbanded. But when it comes down to like just giving out statistics, like oh, X amount of people who come from no father households commit crimes, commit suicide, have problems, have ADHD, whatever the fuck it is. Um, like that's not hate speech. That's like literally like making an observation. Like yo, uh,
Yeah,
single mother community might want to do something about it. Or if you're bringing up like stats about black on black crime or abortion in the black community or abortion in the woman community, whatever,
yeah,
it's like you should be able to bring up like, hey, this is the raw data, and this is like an epidemic or a like whatever. Like this is like
yeah,
a heinous thing when it comes to the birth rate in the black community.
yeah.
How like somebody, dude, somebody said, I think it was Kevin Samuels or some, I can't remember who exactly it was, but they were like, dude, it's like, dude, I'm like 50 years old, and when I was a kid, the black population was 13%. How the fuck 40 years later is still 13%?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You would think that it would go up, but he highlights like, oh, and this is again something that you should be able to say. It's like he's highlighting the fact that in the black community there's a lot of abortions that go on.
And there's a lot of interracial dating as well.
Yeah, a lot of interracial dating, and then there's like, there's a lot of these things that is causing this. I don't even know how to put it. You know, it's like a root problems that are causing like the specific group that you're referring to not be able to
Yeah,
ascend to a better position in the greater community of America and
yeah,
obviously around the world. But it's like I don't know. Like if I'm just talking openly about it, it's like there's things in all communities that has to change. You know,
yeah,
where you can't like you got to be able to talk about it. It can't be taboo. Like making a joke about like my mom dying or something like that. It's like it can't be taboo. Like you got to be able to laugh and joke about things that are dark or could be perceived as bad because without that your
yeah,
whole life is just negativity. And again, it goes back to mindset. Like if you're living in a negative mindset, you can't help yourself. You can't help the person next to you.
yeah. But like you said, that makes a good point because when you're talking about, when people make it, like you said, if somebody was depressed and they made it, and then they go talk to somebody else that's depressed, you don't be like, oh yeah, you're gonna be worse, dude. Like they're gonna
Whitey,
try to help that person. Yeah,
you
you're
know,
gonna be like,
they're gonna be like,
you don't help
Whitey's holding you back.
you. You don't tell somebody that's depressed that, oh yeah, it's over for you, dude. Go die.
No,
You tell them like, look, it's gonna get better. I've been through it before, and that's what people should do when it comes to this topic.
yeah, it's like if somebody in a high status position like Will Smith, Kevin Samuels, all them, it's like if they had like a shitty childhood, like let's say they grew up like in poverty, they grew up in um, fucking government housing or whatever, and got like food stamps. Like they're sitting in a situation where it's like they're getting that like help or the handout or whatever. Like they started off in a very low status position and then got through it, why not share that message? Like, dude, this is how hard my fucking life was when I was a kid, and look at me now. Even with all these obstacles, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, like my white teacher said I would never be anything uh, in my life. Like I'll just be stupid or whatever. It's like I'll never make any money. It's like, yeah, like make it as racist as you want it. Like, oh man, when I went to my first job, they hired a white dude instead of me, even though I was better qualified. But then it's like, dude, that was just another obstacle that you overcame. It's like, how about share those stories? Unless you really don't
Yeah.
have that many to share.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't
And
know
some people
that.
do that what to be more relatable or something.
Yeah, but it's like you can share the story about like, oh man, I was in this shitty situation. This is what I did to get out of it. Instead of,
Yeah.
oh, I was in this shitty situation. Uh, all white people need to pay for that. It's like what? It's like no, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like I mean, it makes sense to have that mindset, or I can see where that mindset and that viewpoint comes from.
Yeah.
But to actually better your situation and get out of that situation, it is going to require a shift in the way you think or the mindset on
Yeah.
that situation. Like, and again, people are probably listening to this like, oh, the white man from a place of privilege is telling me that that I need to just change my mindset, right?
No, I
But
mean
what
I'm
if
saying it too.
LeBron James was telling you? Yeah, like LeBron James should be telling you because it's true. He did it.
Yeah.
If he started off in a shitty situation, he fucking did it. He overcame the obstacles. He overcame the challenges. The racist people that were standing in the way because there's so many of them. He did it.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I mean, that's what it comes down to. that. When it comes to free speech, it's like being able to have this conversation. There's so much. So Terry Crews actually just did a interview not too long ago, or I don't know when the interview actually took place, but I saw this video the other day where he's talking
Mhm.
about nuance. There's no nuance in conversation. You can't sit down and have a conversation about these things. Like everybody looks at it as taboo, or like, oh yeah, your opinion doesn't matter because you're a white person. You can't speak on black issues. It's like, but then you want to talk, and people always come up with the counter argument where it's like, okay, well you're black, you can't speak on white issues. How are you going to tell me that my life's privileged when you haven't lived my life? You haven't lived as a white person, so you don't know if it's privileged or not.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to women and men, it's like, well, you haven't lived as a man, so you don't know what my fucking problems are like. I haven't lived as a woman, so you don't know what my fucking problems are like. You know, the argument can be the exact same on every side, but you can't just like grass is always greener. Like, oh, you're a white person, so it's easy for you. Oh, you're a woman, so it's easy for you. Or you're a man, so it's easy for you. Oh, you're straight, so it's easy for you. Oh, you're right-handed, so it's easy for you. Like, you don't know how easy it is, if it is at all. Like, you don't know. I mean, if I can't comment on your life because I haven't lived it, then you can't comment on my life because you haven't lived it. The argument is if you can't use the argument the same way on both sides, then it's a bullshit argument.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh,
I
that's
was like,
sniff.
yeah.
And
No,
that's pause.
yeah, I was just pausing on that. Because I was like, damn, that was actually a good point in my mind. I feel like that was a good point. Like, if you can't use the argument on both sides the same way, like if you have to change the argument for it to make sense for you, and then, oh, well, it's not the same. It's not the same if I use the same argument. It's like, nah, that's a bullshit argument. That's a bullshit argument. Or that's a, yeah, that, I don't know. But yeah, Elon.
Yeah.
Elon's the GOAT, bro. He's so
Yeah. Shout out to
funny,
Elon.
dude. Shout out
Yeah,
to Elon.
that's why I like him because he's like the rich. Well, I don't know if it's him or just Bezos, but the fact that he's
Jeff,
has all this
him.
money and he's still humble and like you said, he's still trying to help basically other people become rich by his cryptic tweets. I think that's the coolest part about it, man. Um, like you can have all this wealth, but then you still try to help everybody else out just by listening. Like you said, if you just pay attention, you can become rich. You self educate yourself on anything, you can be more successful. And that's why I even posted this on my Facebook. I was like, yo, if Elon Musk turns Twitter into like a Web3 where you can like do crypto, like blockchain, you can make it a tweeted NFT or something like that. Anything like something huge, this site is gonna be like the biggest thing going.
Yeah, yeah, for real. Like, I don't even know what possibilities could come from that. You know, the
This thing, I
Elon.
don't think people are talking about. Oh, he spent $44 billion to get a for just for. They said something, but I don't think he spent 44 billion just to own the site. I think there's something bigger coming along with that. If you
Yeah,
really think about it, he's a businessman. He's the richest man. Yeah, I know people are like, oh well, he took all that money just to throw it away. He's gonna do something with Twitter, for
yeah.
sure.
Obviously, it's not. Twitter's not going to just remain the. He didn't just buy it for it can stay the same, or just get like
Yeah,
where you can say whatever you want, like free for all. You know, he didn't do that. Like you said, there's like a greater uh, plan on the back end.
yeah. Just think like with Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook. Oh, we got this Meta thing. We got Instagram. We got Facebook. We got
WhatsApp.
all of this stuff. Yeah, WhatsApp. This man Elon now he got this Twitter stuff, and then he probably gonna add some more stuff and all this other stuff. It's like metaverse, and then metaverse like it's gonna be huge. It's like the Oasis, like I said from freaking Ready Player One.
Yeah,
It's gonna be huge.
yeah,
And knowing that Elon likes Dogecoin, like Shiba and Dogecoin, if that ever comes out, imagine if he like creates something where you have to use those type of coins on the platform. That's gonna make a lot of people rich in itself.
dude. Make it Doji Elon. Please make it
All three of
Doji Elon.
them.
That's the one I got the most on. Make it Shibu Safe Moon Inu. I got like 8 million
All
of
of
those. Make it Shiba. The ones I got like millions of, please.
them.
Make it those.
So yeah, that would be freaking awesome. That's what's so cool about Elon because he's rich but he's humble and he doesn't mind telling
Yeah.
you like some people get rich. Oh man, don't talk to me. Don't do this. He lets people know, and I like it. He's more transparent. He's like real. That's what it feels like. He's not fake,
Yeah.
and that's what people like about him, and that's what people hate about him as well. That's what people hated about Trump. At the same time, oh yeah, I'm real.
Because
They
he
don't
was
like
real.
real no
Yeah.
more. They're used to people
Yeah.
being they call it what
Fake.
corporate and professional fake, but most of that stuff is fake. If you're corporate, I understand you have to talk a certain way, but and the most part it's fake. Some people wish they can just cuss out their boss, but they're like, "Oh, it's great to see you today, sir. How's it going?" It's fake.
Yeah.
If you
Fucking
have to change the way how you
fake.
talk, it's fake. Fake,
Fake. Fake. Super fake.
fake. Exactly.
Fake. The fakest. Yeah. It sucks when it's something like that, you know? And that's what, like, honestly, that's why I like where I work because, dude, the fucking supervisors cuss, the GM cuss. Like, we're over here like, man, this is a stupid fucking idea. And we're like, yeah, it is kind of stupid. Like, you can have that open, like, just, hey,
Yeah,
this is how people talk. Like I'm sick, I'm tired of the bullshit, you know?
yeah.
Like, I fucking hate being last place. Like, that's what the GM will say. Like, in the team, he's like, I hate being fucking last place. I don't know about y'all, but I'm hungry. We going for first, all right? We top three now. We did come a long way. You know,
Yeah.
it's like get the fuck out of here with that lame shit. You know, like that's how the GM will talk. It's so funny. And but like, yeah, dude, Elon is an interesting cat, and the way his brain works is
Yeah.
so like next level. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
It's like not even. It's like, dude, where is this coming from? You know,
Yeah.
like, dude, there was a clip that I saw, and it was like, if you're watching on the video version, like I'm gonna imitate Elon. Elon's face was like he was like looking like real like weird and squirrely, and he was just like, when it comes down to AI, like artificial intelligence, I mean, if there is a goal that they're trying to achieve, and humans are in the way, they will eliminate us. They will take us out. Like nothing personal. It's just business. And he goes, it's the same way as if we are trying to build a road and there's an anthill, and he's like, there's an anthill in the way. It's nothing personal. We don't hate the ants. They're just in the way. We just build a road. We're just building the road.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's the same with. He's like, it's the same with AI. If humans are in the way, they'll just get rid of us. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how can you just casually say that? I mean, yeah, sure. And then someone was like, yeah, if there was a sentient, all-powerful being and things like that, you can ask them one question. What was it? What would that question be? And he goes, what's outside this simulation? And I'm like, I like this guy. He's so fucking crazy. It's like his brain is just. He's having
Yeah.
conversation. He's having like three different conversations and analyzing. If I say this, what you're gonna say next. Like you can just see
Yeah.
it when he's talking. He's like, dude, this person asked him a question. And he was walking, and he was walking. The dude was asking this long question and kind of like wordy. And they're inside one of the Tesla factories or whatever. And
Yeah.
Elon's just like walking in front of him. And the guy finishes the question, and like a minute goes by, like he doesn't say anything, and then he goes, "I'm sorry, what would you say?" And the guy's like, well," and then he goes to ask the question again, like, "You lost him, like, dude, you were asking the question, you lost him," and then he would just went on to think about something else, like. He's like probably I was like, and so many people in the comments were like, I wonder what he was thinking about right now, right then.
It's like some Willy
It's
Wonka
like
type
that's
stuff.
yeah, yeah. Like you're walking through the factory, and he's like, "Wait, no, stop." Like, wait,
Yeah.
no, don't do that. But man, Elon is an interesting dude. Like, and then he's wrapped up in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing, because like him and Amber
Yeah.
Heard like hooked up or something.
Yeah, him and Bill Gates like going at it too.
Oh yeah,
It's,
where
it's
he
kind of
tweeted
crazy.
out the pregnant man emoji. He's like, "You look like
Oh
the
my
pregnant man,
gosh.
dude." That is fucking funny. And then they something with that. Bill Gates has a short against Tesla, so basically like a short position against
Yeah.
Tesla stock Basically, if Tesla does bad, Bill Gates makes money. And for those who don't know what shorting a position is, so when he was talking to him about climate change and what is it, uh, environmental philanthropy or whatever to like help save the planet, um, basically Bill Gates was reaching out to Elon, and Elon goes, "Do you still have the short against Tesla?" And he goes, "Well, then I can't take anything you're saying about economics or like climate change and environment seriously because you're shorting against the company that's doing the most to help out the environment and climate change. Like you don't
Yeah.
make sense. Like you're contradictory."
Yeah.
So he just put it out there like free speech. Like, hey, everybody, this is what Bill Gates said. Fuck him. What a piece of shit. Like basically what Elon said. And it's just cool. It's just cool. Like when I see Elon doing shit, I'm like, yes. Like he's so good at marketing. And Tatiana brings it up all the time. She's like, he's like for the people. Like he's like a Trump,
Yeah.
where it's like he's like, and he'll just tell it like it is. Like when they were talking about like that bill that they were trying to pass or whatever. I don't even know what it was about. He was just like, "Yep,
Yeah.
scrap it. It sucks. Like the whole thing sucks. Just get rid of it. Don't even do it. Like there's no point in doing it." And he'll call it out. He'll just be on like live TV, like live news in the morning, and he'll just be like, "Yep, sucks. Don't do it." And then he's like, what is it? He's also like a geek. Like he's like a nerd. Like he plays video games like Overwatch and shit like that. And then
Yeah.
he does like little corny ass jokes like there's the Tesla Model S and the Model X and the Model E and he's coming out with the Model Y. And then you're like, wait, hold up. SEXY. Sexy? That's the name of your fucking cars? And he's like, because he's so awkward sometimes.
Yeah.
And then he just laughs like that. Like, it's so funny, man. Like, all the time like, I'm so interested in the way he thinks about shit. But then,
Yeah.
like, the way he communicates is so, like, yeah, you can tell this dude is burdened by intelligence.
Yeah.
Like,
Like he's cool, man. Like he's like Dr. Emmett Brown, like but like a younger version. Like his mind is just going crazy. Like if anybody
yeah,
was, even though I don't want it to happen, like if time travel, it'll probably end up being him or something. Like honestly, if
yeah.
anybody was gonna do it, it'll probably be him. We're trying to go to
Well, here's
space,
the thing.
to Mars and stuff like that, and he says he really wants to like live there, like people that like set up, and build like an entire city. Like that's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, you know what's crazier, like about that as well. So there's the movie Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger from I think it was like the mid '90s. It came out maybe late '80s. I can't remember exactly when the movie came out. I think it was like '95 or
Yeah,
some shit. No, no, no. It had to have been before that. It was like '90 because True Lies came out in '93 and it came out before then. But there's a colony on Mars and things like that, uh, where there's a connection between Mars and Earth. Like they know of each other, right? Just imagine, like we terraform Mars, things like that, and a couple thousand years go by, and Earth and Mars lose communication. There's no travel between the two. People that grew up and are born on Mars are going to be like, "Wait, huh?" Like, there's another. Like, what if there's like some kind of catastrophe or something like that? Like, communicate. Like, a war breaks out or some shit where some history is lost. Imagine being
yeah,
somebody 1,000, 2,000 years from now that's growing up and living on Mars that feels like this connection to another planet, and they develop space travel and shit like that, and are able to
yeah,
reach out and fly to Earth. And then they're like,
yeah,
"What the fuck is these? Like, maybe we kill each other on Earth and just end it, so that Earth's dead, but Mars is now the new planet that we live on."
yeah,
As a human race or species. They're gonna travel to Earth and be like, "Oh, aliens." Even though that's where we came from, they're gonna be like, "Man, what the fuck is this alien planet with this like crazy technology?" It's like, dude, like, what is this? What is this Apple product? What is this Apple device that I want? Like they must have. This was like if you think about like the technology that we have now, and you're like, oh, this must have been a device for communication on between these, like, whatever. It's like there's a screen and a camera. It's like, but then like on their planet, they might have like holograms or some shit. Like, what is this ancient technology? Or they'll probably be like, what is this futuristic technology on this planet? Like, they'll probably think that's the future, like having a thing in
Yeah.
your hand. Um, it's like that. You have to use your hands. That's like a baby's toy. Like, that's crazy to think about. And he's probably thought about it. But you have
Yeah.
somebody like Elon Musk saying that we should be wary and cautious of artificial intelligence. I would fucking listen to that.
Yeah.
I would fucking listen to that because that's like, I think back to the movie Tron Legacy with Jeff Bridges, and he makes the computer version of himself Clue. If you watch the first
Hmm.
Tron, or if you watch Tron Legacy, in when he creates Clue, he instills this programming like, I will create the perfect system. I will create the perfect system. So when it comes to flaws, he doesn't, like, it's not in his programming, like the artificial intelligence, it's not in that programming to comprehend and understand flaws. It's like in
Yeah.
iRobot when the robot tries to eliminate human beings because human beings are trying to eliminate themselves, right? So it's like we're flawed and we are animalistic and we have these negative traits that grow in us because when it comes down to it, we're able to distinguish between our kin and the other.
Hmm.
And if we could put other people as the other and that are not human, we're not looking at the human side of our enemies, it's
Yeah.
easy to do heinous acts. Like, that's how wars happen. It's like, oh, fuck you guys, you're trying to kill us, we're trying to kill you. Even though Attila the Hun probably had a woman that he cared about and a son that he cared about. The
Yeah.
Vikings are like, fuck you, murdered. Like, we don't care. We don't care if you have,
You'll
like,
be
we'll
like,
kill your kid too. Like, we don't give a shit. Because you're able to distinguish, like, as a human, you can distinguish between you and the other and hate the other.
yeah.
And robots and AI will easily look at us as the other or as mistake
Yeah.
driven, mistake filled, faults. And if their program is to create the perfect system, they will eliminate us. And Elon is trying to
Because
warn us about that
because we're not perfect.
because we're not perfect. And
Yeah.
you cannot, I fully believe this. You, we are not God, and we are not all thinking and all knowing to be able to create consciousness in
Yeah.
like AI in a non-biological body. We are unable to. There's not enough computing power to program a conscience.
We're not supposed to anyway. I don't think we're supposed to do this
Like, I 100% believe that it will lead nothing but bad.
Yeah.
You know, because when it comes down, I think about like Transformers, right? When I just thought about that,
Yeah.
so it's like those non-biological aliens. You, like, look at something like the Allspark and the amount of energy
Yeah.
and that is within that cube, right? And how huge it was, right?
Yeah.
The amount of energy that was giving those non-biologicals power to think and like breathe essentially, but like to think and have a conscience and have morals and have values and fight for good and evil, things like that. It's like having that dichotomy of life, basically. The amount of energy and power it took for a non biological to be able to have the computing power, basically, because I essentially they're computers and robots, to be able to do that in a physical, like, non biological sense is immense. But for us, because we were created by an all knowing who created the universe,
Yeah.
we're made of the four most common elements in the universe, like carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, and I forgot the fourth one. But it's like
Yeah.
there's no fucking way that we'll be able to create something that perfect because
Yeah,
in our imperfection is our perfection.
yeah,
It's like the reason why life is good is because one day it'll be over.
yeah. And that's I read something too. Like they were trying to. I think they already created it, like a heart thing that sits on your heart, so it'll never start beating. And I'm like, yo, that's terrible. I don't
Yeah,
know if you
but
heard about that.
here's the thing: like a pacemaker.
Yeah, but it's like more
Yeah, that
advanced to where like it just never freaking stops ever.
yeah, and the thing about it is, let's say you have that heart that never stops. Okay, but it's pumping blood that you poison with alcohol.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that I don't drink. I definitely drink. I smoke cigars, shit like that. But it's like there's a reason that we break down, right? There's no DNA that says, "Oh yeah, we're going to die." But it's the way we live that deteriorates our body over 80
yeah,
years, things like that. Like oxygen oxidizes us. Oxygen rusts metal. What do you think it does to us, right?
yeah.
We're not perfect. Like we have we have the faults. The oxygen kills us slowly over 80 years because
Reminds me of
what's in the
Wolverine.
air? Yeah, like the adamantium's like slowly poisoning him.
Yeah,
But it's like even if you have the heart that runs forever, it's attached to the lungs that don't breathe forever, the brain that don't think forever, the you know,
yeah. And spoiler
unless
alert,
you're
he
able
still
again,
dies.
yeah, even with his healing factor, it
Yeah,
runs out. Like it's like a autoimmune disease, right? Like if you have something
yeah,
like RA that's caused by your immune system getting some weird faulty wiring and like attacking your own joints and
yeah.
destroying them. Your body, your immune system is killing you. Is literally destroying your body, basically. And again, even if you were able to fully put your consciousness into a computer, the amount of power required to get every little nuance of your thought, that your spirit that makes you you, would just be so incredible. Like we would literally
It's
have to
some.
put a
Yeah.
Dyson sphere around the sun and
That's
harness the
like
power of the
the.
sun.
I
Like,
don't like Xavier for like some Iron Man type stuff.
yeah, you'd have to have something like a fucking I forgot what it's called, the arc reactor, which is like limitless
Yeah,
power or like a crazy amount of power. Or you'd literally have to have Otto Octavius, like the power of the sun in the palm of my hands. Like you would have to have that per person.
and guess what? All the experiments, including him and Electro, failed. It was terrible. They was about
Yeah,
to destroy everything.
yeah. Perpetual motion does not. It's like impossible because you cannot get more energy out of something that you put in. You put in this much energy, you get less. It's a scientific constant or a physical property constant or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Like
I think about it. That
energy
robot took over
transference
his
or whatever.
brain. The
Yeah,
robots he used took over his brain.
yeah, because the inhibitor chip got busted.
Yeah,
Like, and again, how the fuck did where'd the AI come from in the robots? Like, why did he put AI in the fucking robot arms? I don't even
yeah,
get it.
yeah, yeah. He didn't need to do that.
Yeah, he's like, I hear voices talking to me, and I feel like I need to narrate my life out loud right now. Honestly, you know what would have been cool?
Weird. Yeah, yeah, he was
like,
like,
like honestly, what would have been cool if they did would just have him thinking, like in those scenes, like he's acting with his like face and stuff like that, but he's not talking out loud because the robots
yeah,
or like the AI's like in his brain, like you can't hear what they're saying, but they're
yeah,
and he's reacting to it. Like it would have been cool if like he was like, I hear voices voice is talking or whatever, and like his face is just stoic,
Yeah.
or he's like acting, but like you're hearing what he was saying instead of out loud. It was just in his head, and you're hearing it out loud. That would be really cool. And then whenever he's talking to like Peter, he's like Butterfingers, Butterfingers. Well, yeah, like it's so interesting what the fuck's happening in the world, and when it comes to like AI, Elon buying Twitter, it's just like the metaverse, crypto going crazy,
Yeah.
freedom of speech, people getting, I'm telling you, distracted by the shallow things like, oh, this dude don't like me because I got melanin. It's like, bro,
Yeah.
it ain't that deep. Pun
Yeah.
intended.
It's really not.
Yeah, melanin ain't that deep. Like, it's only skin deep. It's a shallow reason to fucking hate somebody.
And I feel like right now, it feels like the world is kind of correcting itself. Like you see like a lot of negative stuff going on, and then you see slowly positive like feeds. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird. Like everything is coming back to a way it should. Like I feel like when the pandemic happened, it made people appreciate things a lot more, and then and it allowed more people to like really open their mind, like how we're doing now. Like we're talking about, what's all about the mindset. Your mind was right, you still here.
Yeah.
It was basically telling you tighten up. You here and you still here. So now you're supposed to pay attention and look to see what's going on. You're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
better yourself. You know what I'm saying? Get your immune system up, get your body right, get everything going so you can be here for a long time so you can
Gains.
adapt. It's like you basically adapting to what the heck is going on
Right.
so you can be stronger.
And this is like an overused quote. Like a lot of people use it, but a lot of people just kind of like blow it off or don't really take it deeply because they don't
Mm,
want to step up and be the person that's making the change. But hard times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
I've
We were
never
in a
heard that, but I
period
like that.
you've never, yeah, and it's just a vicious cycle, right? Because
Yeah,
when times are hard, it requires strong people to step up and make the change. And when you make those changes and you have those strong people that live through the hard shit, they make things easier for the next generation or the next group. And because the things were easy, that group doesn't have to be as strong or tough. So they kind of can go back to a weaker mindset.
yeah,
And it causes hard times because like when you get the balance off and you're not doing the things that kept up the easy times, like you're not being that hard strong person that's keeping up the easy times, it goes back to things start falling apart. You let corrupt people step in the way because people are weaker. They
yeah,
allow more to happen, and then it creates a hard time, which then requires those people that were kind of sitting back dormant to step
yeah,
up and make that change again for the better. And a lot of people, man, they hear that phrase and they're just like, "Oh, well, blah 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 blah," right? And it's like you're one of the weak people that don't want to make the change. Like things are bad, but you want to lie to yourself that you're okay with what's going on. And you get
mm,
complacent and comfortable with the struggle. And you allow yourself or you comply on this little thing and then another little thing and another little thing and another
yeah,
little thing and then you take 1 inch back, step 1 inch back, step 1 inch back, and then when you finally wake up and look, you see that you're 30 feet from where you once were standing and things aren't so good anymore.
yeah,
And instead of stepping up and doing something about it, you're, oh, that's just bullshit, what the fuck, what the fuck, you know? Like that's why
yeah,
you're getting all these weak pussy ass dudes. Like here's the thing, I'm all for men saying when shit bothers them, right? Like if a woman's doing something and they're kind of treating a guy like shit or whatever, or friend zoning him or whatever, like, yeah, I'm all for like a dude being like, yeah, that sucks. I hate that, you know? But here's
yeah.
the thing, what are you doing about it? Like, are you saying the exact same and doing the exact same thing to the next girl that you talk to, getting yourself in the next situation? Like, that's the exact same as the last one that you didn't like, or you didn't get the result that you were looking for? Or are you stepping up and changing who you are and being a fucking man? Same thing with the ladies. It's like, are you fucking stepping up and being a woman? Like, are you understanding the beauty that comes with being in sync with who you are, and
Yeah.
understanding that success on a scale with a man and success scale for a woman are different. Like a lot of the times nowadays, it's like because you got these pussy ass dudes that are, oh man, like, oh man, women, like it's okay to be weak, it's okay to be show your emotions and your feelings. It's like nobody's saying that you don't have those emotions and feelings, right? But
Mm,
be a fucking man when you have to.
yeah.
You got to step up and be the fucking man.
Yeah.
Like, quit trying to cater to everybody else's feelings. Yes, as a man, you're the protector, the provider, and things like that for your lady. But don't just write off all women because there was a couple of dipshits that you were dealing with.
Yeah. And I feel like a man really should only get his heart broken once, and he should never get his heart broken again. Because you
Yeah,
should already become a man. Like, you know what? I went through that. It ain't gonna happen no more. They say what women get their heart
right.
broken over and over again. A man should only get their heart broken once, and just learn from it, and
Yeah,
just make themselves better, and not have to deal with it no more.
yeah. And again, even a woman should only get her heart broken once. And when I think about it, because it's like, dude, you should. Because here's the thing: if men are competing and women are the ones that choose the victor, you would think they would be make better choices or have better judgment.
You know?
If you're like constantly finding yourself in the same situation where a dude is treating you like shit, not putting you first, not willing to step up and be the man for you, sorry. If
That
it's a constant
stubbornness
thing,
too.
like you go, yeah, if you talk to 10 different dudes and the same result happens every 10, all 10 times, it's not the guys. Yes, those guys are probably pieces of shit, but you chose those pieces of shit.
Yeah, and you
And
still have to
again,
look in the mirror, like, and take accountability for yourself too. And maybe like, well, dang, what do I need to make better about myself? Sometimes you have to do that too.
everybody has to do that, even the guys. Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
and the thing that I'm telling you right now, or that I think of, is people are not willing to be vulnerable with other people. Like if somebody hurt you, they're not willing to confront that person and be like, "Look at what you did to me. This is what you. This is how hurt I am by you." I feel like people don't do that nowadays
yeah.
because they want to appear like big and bad and like, "Oh, I didn't give a shit anyway." It's like,
Get
well,
there.
no, like because you're not even allowing the person that hurt you a chance to get better. You're allowing them to just because like let's say they cheat on you or fuck you over or whatever, and then
Yeah,
you just act like you don't care when really deep down you do. One, you're hurting yourself because you're not moving past the
yeah,
trauma or the pain that you're feeling, and then two, that person is just like, oh man, I did that. They didn't even care. I'm gonna do it to the next person. I'm gonna do it to the next person. I'm
yeah.
gonna do it to the next
And it's
person.
stupid. Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't. There's no like. Again, it's no accountability. You're not holding people to a higher standard. Like, dude, if okay, if somebody like treats me horribly or hurts me or whatever, like yeah, I'm gonna let them know, and I'm gonna make sure they understand that they fucking hurt me.
yeah.
Because one,
Me
I'm
too.
gonna I'm gonna move past it, and I'm gonna make sure that they feel like shit about it for what they did. And yeah, you're gonna
Yeah,
deal with people like it may not be you that cracks the like changes them,
yeah,
but you're gonna be the first puzzle piece or that first combination code where it's like, dude, if somebody like does something horrible to you and you just let them know, like, look at what the fuck you did to me. Like, this is how badly that hurt me. If you really cared me about me when we were together, how could you fucking do what you did?
that's how it
And if
was.
you really,
Yeah,
yeah, if you really show them
yeah,
how much what their actions did caused pain in your life, one, you're going to get it out and you're going to have that closure because you're going to let them know, right?
yeah.
And you're going to have to be okay with the fact that they might not give a fuck. And
And
that's
that's what
okay.
sucks the most. Yeah, that shit
Yes,
hurts,
but you
but you
have to
gotta let it.
understand.
You know. Yeah,
Yeah, because everybody wants to act like they're the ones that cares the least, and it's like, no, that's okay. It's okay to care more than someone else. What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
you gotta, you could be the first step on them changing who they are. Because let's say they go to the next person, they do the same thing they did with you, and that person makes them feel like shit, and they
Yeah.
really kind of like, oh my god, like you could like by doing that, you could potentially get a message like years later, like, hey, yo, like I'm trying to better myself, and I fucking realized like I was just a piece of shit to you, and you got to
A
be
certain
willing.
person have told me that before. That we used to play games with.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know who. Red Dead Redemption and shit like
Oh.
that. Yeah,
Oh wow. Wow. They
yeah.
really reached out to you. When was that?
That was way back, but yeah, that person was like, "Oh yeah, I don't know what the heck I was thinking. I don't even know why I was mad, but I'm
Yeah.
a better person now." Yeah,
Yeah. And that's awesome. See, like it's true that that can happen. Like if you
yeah,
just like I remember this, man. When I was in elementary school, there was this girl that liked me, and I didn't like her. She was not my type. She was kind of big too. And I was also young and stupid because I was like not even into girls when I was like in elementary school and shit like that. Like that, you know what I mean? And dude, when I was in high school and I was like talking to a couple of different girls and trying to get a girlfriend and shit like that and it just wasn't working out or I was like whatever. Dude, I literally sat in my room thinking about shit. And I thought about this girl that I was mean to when I was in elementary school like for like 5th grade and 3rd grade and shit like that. Cuz we were in like
yeah,
1st or 2nd grade together and then we were in 5th grade together. And in those 2 years like she liked me but I didn't like her, right? And I was mean to her. And when I was in high school, I messaged her on Facebook. I reached out to her and I was like, hey, I just wanted to reach out to you and see how you're doing, things like that. We were in like, and I kind of went through. It's like, yeah, like we were in 5th grade together, 3rd grade or whatever. It's like, and I remember that you liked me and you let me know that you liked me, and I was just rude to you. I was mean to you, and I was just I feel really bad about it thinking back on it, because I feel like by me being mean and rude to you, here I am now, having trouble and like struggling with like I'm getting the
yeah,
same treatment where it's like I'm putting myself out there and I'm getting rejected hard by people that I'm interested in, and it really caused me to think about like, hey, how you must have felt in those
yeah,
times. And she's like, I'm really glad that you said that, and like maybe it was a trauma for her, maybe it wasn't, but if it was, like that was something that was maybe plaguing her, like maybe she was feeling insecure, less confident in her life because of me,
yeah,
that could easily have been a possibility, like a thing that she's like dealing with, like just like I was dealing with it, she could have been dealing with it, and I was the mean one, I was the bully in the fucking moment.
yeah,
But I went back and I like apologized to her, and I was just like, hey, I was a piece of shit. Like, I'm not asking you to forgive me, but I'm just letting you know, like, I understand like the fucking error in the what I was doing back then. And she accepted the apology. She like we talked a little bit. Um and then I haven't talked to her since.
yeah,
But then it was like I got a girlfriend fucking right after that. And I was like, God damn, maybe that was it, Just like let people like you're that was it, and that's why I stand by that point where it's like this person let me know that they fucking felt horrible about what I was doing, and years
yeah,
later it fucking really sunk in, and I became a better person because of it. Now I like it, man. I can't even see myself really just harshly judging somebody like that anymore, because
yeah,
it was like a lesson for me as a kid. Like I was doing something shitty, and then here it is, like now I'm in a much better situation, and I'm more approachable, and more people like talking to me, and I like talking to people because I'm getting perspectives and nuance and conversations from people that I would before when I was a kid like, oh, I don't want to talk to that person, but now I'm like they have an interesting story to tell, and it's cool to just talk, you know,
yeah,
and that's why I stand by like, yeah, if you can let people know, you may not get that gratification or that understanding like, oh yeah, my point really sunk in immediately. You most likely won't.
yeah,
But it could be years later. You could have been one of those people that they reach back out to and apologize to for treating you like shit. And it just comes back to you being true to who you are and allowing yourself to be vulnerable for people because that's what's going to allow them to be vulnerable to you later on.
Yeah, and that is a good feeling, like you said. She probably felt great after that. And like I told you, when I got that message, I was like, "This is
You're like, I
awesome,
fucking
man."
knew it. Like,
It
it's
was
like
a
you were trying to
good,
make me look like I was fucking crazy in the
yeah.
moment.
And then it was just cool, like even on Facebook, everything, like it was all good. Like
Yeah.
it was awesome. It was like a you know a good moment where it's like, you know what, I don't know what the freak I was thinking, like pretty much. And then now it's like, oh yeah, we cool. Probably whenever we play the Red Dead 2 again, we'll probably play or something.
Yeah. And yeah, I know who you're talking about. That's sick. And the same thing with uh my ex that I was dating before Tatiana. Like, she went into the military. And when I talked about her last week or whatever, where it's like she went in the military and she ended up talking to somebody else and then she was still kind of interested in this guy that she used to know before we started dating. And it turns out like he
Yeah,
again, turns out things didn't work out with him, right?
yeah,
And she messaged me and she was just like, "Man, it's like I just wanted to apologize or whatever." Da 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 da. I don't know if she said that specifically, but the point that she was making was, um, people that I was pushing away or like throwing away, people that really genuinely cared about me, that
yeah,
really wanted the best for me or wanted more for me, and it's one of those like where I was vulnerable with her and she came back and told me that,
yeah,
and then you kind of hear things from like the girl that I did in high school. Like I bumped into one of her friends at like a quick trip or whatever. I was getting gas or something. I bumped into one of her friends and we were talking and chit chatting or whatever. And she told me like some things that I didn't know. And
yeah,
one of the things was like, because she was a black girl and my dad didn't really approve. Like he said something and I told her about it. I was like, yeah, this is what my dad's saying. This is what my dad's thinking. And she was like
yeah,
crying about it and like, oh my god, I can't believe in this day and age like people still feel that way, right? Come
yeah,
to find out, her mom didn't like me because I was white,
yeah.
and I'm like, damn, she was like trying to make me feel like shit, like my fucking family's racist when goddamn her mom was saying the same shit. And
It's crazy,
then
man.
the friend let me know that she like looked me up on Facebook or whatever, like saw that I went to Paris and saw whatever. It's like things are going different in my life, and basically reiterated like, oh man, she kind of feels bad that she let her mom influence her decision or her viewpoint.
Yeah,
And I'm like man, just be straight up with people. That's the best, dude. In the book Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules of Life, one of the rules is, um, don't. It's like, don't lie, uh, or at least it's like tell the truth, or at least don't lie. Yeah, it's like tell the
yeah,
truth, or at least don't lie. It's like because one lie leads to another lie, which leads to a web of lies, which leads to an alternate living of your life because you're now embodying the lie. When you could have just been honest or neutral from the beginning, and it's
yeah,
way easier. And I don't know, it's just a cool fucking thing to think about. Like I don't know how we got. I forgot how we got on a vulnerability thing, but it's just I don't know. Be good to people.
yeah. I'm glad that's how I am nowadays, where I completely speak my mind. And it's crazy because usually I'm like the most filtered person, and I kind of still am as far as like I don't try to like cuss people out. But if I feel some type of way, I will tell them exactly how I feel, no matter like if they're older, if they're younger, and I'm telling them no. I'm just telling them straight up, like, look, this is how I feel about you. If you're wrong, you're wrong,
Right.
and that's how it's got to be. Like I feel like some people, like you said, some people don't know that they're doing wrong. Some people just used to it. Oh yeah, I'm like this. This is how I am. But if you let somebody know, they'd be like, oh shoot, well maybe I am doing something wrong. Well, how come nobody told me? Because sometimes they surrounded by fake people and just be like, oh yeah, you're doing this, you're doing that, keep doing what you're doing. No, you be like, no, you shouldn't do that, and that's
Yeah,
what more
misery
people
loves
should be
company.
like. Yeah, a real friend is
Misery
somebody that
loves
tell
company.
you exactly how it is. Yeah,
Right. Like it's like if somebody has something in their tooth and you don't want to fuck, or like they got their fly down or something. It's like people will just let them walk. Like,
yeah,
and I even do that. Like if somebody has something in their tooth or whatever, I'm like, hey yo, you got some like whatever right there in your teeth, and they're like, oh my god, thank you. Like they're like, oh my god, thank you for saying something, and I'm like, yeah, that's because I'm a real friend. I'm not gonna let you walk around looking stupid. You know, like I'll just throw that out there because it's like a funny way to make them not feel awkward about the situation. You know,
yeah. And it's
and
how you say it. Don't be like, bro, your teeth, you got something in your teeth,
like
like
what
loud as
the
freak.
fuck, dude? Like. Like, hey, everybody, damn, what the? Like, you just fucking put them on
Yeah.
blast. No, but like,
Oh
if you're just
shit.
like, if you're having a conversation with them and do it like immediately, like, you
Yeah.
walk up, you see somebody, and it's like, oh, hey, what's up, yo, da 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 da. It's like, oh, hey, real quick, you got something like right here, you know? Because then the longer you go, like, let's say you talk to them for like 10, 15 minutes, and then you're like, hey, yeah, you have something right here in your tooth that's been there the entire time we've been talking. They immediately get self conscious about the whole conversation. Do it immediately. Like somebody got like a fucking booger hanging out of their nose. Like, dude, it's
Yeah.
embarrassing. Like, but guess what? It's more embarrassing for them if a ton of people see them and nobody says anything than it is for you to just walk up and say it immediately. Like, if you feel embarrassed bringing it up, it's more embarrassing for the other person if you let them go on.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just like, yo, just be a good friend and just be like, hey, bro, just letting you know you got a big ass booger hanging out of your fucking nose.
Like, oh hey, no, man, look at
This snot nose motherfucker over here. Look at this shit. Ah, you know, like,
that.
like, oh
That's
hell no,
hilarious.
dude, man, you got a big ass shit hanging down. Like,
Like, yo, come look at this lady.
yeah. Hey, mammy. Oh, don't be like that, bitch. If I had a rock, I'll buzz your head. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. Thought about that, but yeah, man. Elon buying Twitter, fucking cool things coming. I need to watch more What If and see the
Yes.
No Way Home. But man, what are you guys' thoughts on Elon and the future of the uh, economic and environmental state of the future? You know, like I want to talk about climate change.
Oh, hey, one more thing, bro.
Oh yeah, yeah,
uh, I think it's amazing that Africa is a continent,
uh huh.
but the poorest country is in Africa. But the richest man is from Africa, and that's Elon Musk.
Yep,
And I think that's very inspirational. So you guys think about that. Even though he's not from the poorest country in Africa, he's from Africa, which is a lot of poor places in Africa.
yep.
But he's the richest man in the world.
I mean, bringing that
So
up,
that's cool. Think about something like that.
yeah, bringing
Yeah.
that up. People want to talk like the situation I talked to you about, where the ladies are walking out. The guy doesn't holds the door. They don't say thank you. Oh, that's white privilege. That's racist, right? Because you held the door. They didn't say thank you.
Mm.
If you really give a shit about race and things like that, like there was a video I saw where it was like the 10 most racist countries in the world. People were upset that America was not on the list. Like America, like out of all the countries in the world, America was like 200th or some shit. Like way low on the bottom, like one of the most free and open and non-racist countries. People
Yeah.
were
Like we admitted
livid. They were like,
racist.
"How? How?" Right? It's like, well, you go to a country in like the Middle East where if you're gay, they kill you,
Yeah.
or if you're black, they hate you, or whatever. If you're Jewish, they will murder
Yeah.
you or
Like
some
they
shit.
religious
You
over
know?
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, America wouldn't be on the fucking list. Like, if you want to talk about real racial issues,
Yeah.
look
It's
at
tough.
countries in Africa where the whole country is predominantly black. And the corrupt government is stealing from the fucking low man, like the regular man, and basically giving 100-year debt to countries like France and England. and the UK and all that and wherever.
Yeah.
Like Cameroon, which is where Tatiana's from, is in 100-year debt to France.
Dang. Dang.
If that doesn't change, you want to talk about racism. You want to talk
Yeah.
about the white person keeping the black person down. Literally, people are living in poverty, like
Yeah.
extreme poverty, like working for dollars a day.
Yeah.
Like $1. Like here's the thing: in America, $1 equals 550 francs CFA, which is Cameroonian francs, which is the
Dang.
currency in Cameroon. $1 equals 500. People are working for like 10,000 francs CFA a day. That's like laughable. That's like $20 or some shit.
Yeah.
Like what? One, two. Yeah, that's $20. That's what people are living off of a day. Like Tatiana told me that her grandmother used to work for like 40,000 francs CFA a month. Talking about 80
Yeah.
bucks, right? You want to talk about racial divide and class divide? That's where it is. America, dude.
Yeah.
Like somebody put this in perspective. They were like, a poor person in America, like poverty in America, have a couple cars, a couple TVs in their house. They have cell phone like $500, $700 cell phones. They have
Yeah.
nice shoes, clothes, clean water, food to eat, right? And government assistance. That's poverty in America. Dude, poverty over there is no clean water. You have to
Yeah.
walk a mile with a fucking bucket to get some water. Like
Yeah.
Tatiana has like that used to be a thing. Like her and her siblings would go to the fucking water distribution, and you'd have to walk like a fucking mile with a bucket on your head to get clean water. And they would boil the water to get rid of the impurities to make cook food with, and then they would use the same water. They would boil it, heat it up to take a shower with a pan. Like
Yeah.
you'd have like a bowl to like wash it. You'd stand there, soap yourself up with no water. Fucking take the water and splash it on you to get the soap off. It's like you want to talk about real like racial divide. An entire
Yeah.
country is getting milked for the money they have to go to a white country like France. It's
Dang. Yeah.
like that's why I feel like people who have never left the city they are in, the state they're in, the country they live in, if you've never traveled to another fucking country to see what it's like, you have no idea how lucky you got it.
Yeah.
It really is a perspective shift when you see the struggles that people really go through. And again, it's the same thing that can happen in America. Like if you have somebody that's from the middle or upper class and they go to a lower income neighborhood and kind of see like, oh shit, these are the
Yeah.
conditions, it's gonna make you fucking feel a little differently. Like,
I feel like that going down
dude,
the freaking road, like from
for real,
here to the cabs, like how the streets are, like for real.
yeah,
From going
like
from here, this
you know,
county to another county is huge.
like over by Morrow, um, like the school, like I lived really close there. The neighborhood right behind the school, like my neighborhood was good. Like all the neighbors know each other. The lawns are kept nice, looking good. Like people walking their dogs. Hey, what's up? You know, like talking to Grady up the fucking street. Like you'd go up the street to Mr. Paul. He'd give you some fucking veggies out of his garden. You know, it's like that. The neighborhood, dude. Literally walking to school. If I made a left, man, shootouts in the fucking street behind the school. It's like just walking down the street was another world.
Yeah.
Like where one of my friends lived, like he would come over to our neighborhood. We shoot basketball in the summer, like every day, and then like, dude, we'd walk him back home, or like his dad would come get him, or we'd give him a ride or some shit. And it's just like, dude, you're like, roll him up when you're getting into his neighborhood, and it's behind the fucking school I went to. It's like,
The apartments and shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What are you talking? Oh
Dude,
yeah.
like the ones where they got like the
Man.
fucking boarded up windows and like there was a fire
Oof.
that they didn't even fix. Like it's still fucked up. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
Like those gas
Dang.
stations and shit that are like over there near the school. It's like another world. Go to Africa where like it's even worse in some parts.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just like people don't have that perspective. They want to look at like, oh, you didn't hold the door open for me, white privilege. It's like, come the fuck on, man, dude. Dude, if I can, dude, if I'm white and my white privilege is I get to walk through doors and not say thank you. That is the shittiest privilege ever.
Exactly.
You just would be an asshole.
And what I just thought about, the dude is at Olive Garden. A lot of people can't eat Olive Garden. If
Dude, yeah,
you
the
really
guy's at
think about
Olive Garden,
it.
making a reservation, like to fucking sit down and eat like really good, like some good ass food. Like, I mean, goddamn,
Like you
they're just
said, some
having a
people
good
can't even
night, man.
eat.
They fucking ate the little chocolate, maybe had a little drink, and was like, ah, and started walking out the door and fucking didn't think about it. Like, relax, dude. Like, I'm telling you, if I had white privilege, like, and I could utilize it for that, I would be thinking of something bigger to use it for. I wouldn't be like, oh man, I'm really sticking it to the black community. I'm walking through doors and not saying thank you. It's like you sound like Doofenshmirtz, like the worst fucking evil villain ever. Like, come
Doofus
on,
first.
Evil
Oh,
Incorporated. Fucking
oh,
goof
another
shit,
thing that
man.
was funny, like it was a black dude. Like real quick, I know we going crazy with Tom,
Yeah.
but I thought this was the funniest post ever, and a black man posted
Uh
this.
huh.
When Elon Musk bought Twitter, he was like, "What a great day for the African American community."
Yeah.
And some girl in the comments was pissed. She was like, "What does he have to do with African American
Because
community?"
he's African American, you dumb bitch.
And then he was like, "Because he's from Africa
Yeah.
and he's American." And then they was like, "But he's not black." But it was like he's still from Africa. So it was funny.
Yeah.
He said it as a joke, but he's actually
Yeah,
basically
it's
from
true.
Africa. And it's funny because she got so mad, and I'm like, dude, he's basically African
He
American.
is
He's just from
African
South
American.
Africa.
He's multi fucking national.
Yeah,
Like
that girl was
the
mad.
richest man in the world is African American.
Exactly.
Technically,
That is
like you
hilarious.
want to
Yeah,
talk about
technically.
for like because again, there's always like this subdivide that and I said this to Tatiana when I first we first got together. I'm like, black people do not want to be related to.
Yeah.
They don't want you to be able to understand the fucking problem or the issue because it immediately takes away any fucking um like leverage they could have over you as a white person. Like if you're like look at Eminem and the way he fucking grew up, right?
Yeah.
Like fucking extreme poverty in Detroit, whatever, blah 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 blah, right? Um yeah, he gets the fucking pass apparently because he lived and everybody knows he lived a hard life, but it's like when it comes down to it, they don't want that. They don't
Yeah.
want you to be able to understand the issue, and they don't even want to talk about it in a way that you can understand. Even if you're genuinely curious. And I told this to Tatiana because she got offended when I said that. And I go, here's the thing. I will never understand because I did not grow up in your shoes. I'm not a black girl that grew up in Africa for 20 years in poverty. I will never have that experience. It's too late. I'm 28. I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
past the fucking mark. It's too fucking late. I will never experience that. However, if it was a horrible situation and I'm asking questions and genuinely trying to get a better perspective or understanding from you on what it was like, and you're, oh, you'll never understand because you didn't live it. It's like, here's somebody who cares, who's genuinely curious and cares about your life and how you grew up, and genuinely wants to understand to maybe help you get to a better situation
Yeah.
or move past any childhood traumas that you might have had, and you want to shit on that person for caring. That's what I don't understand. And a lot of the times, and this is a fucking like the counter argument to that, a lot of white people just want to, and a lot of people in general want to understand enough to disagree, which is bullshit. Like
Yeah.
I don't understand why people would want to just to get enough information to be like, oh well, see, that's why it's fucked up. See, that's why what you're saying is wrong. That's why it doesn't make sense. It's like again trying to create that divide or that
Yeah.
you can't relate to me thing. But I will tell you this: a lot of black people do not want white people to have a genuine understanding of how hard it is because okay, if you highlight all the struggles that you had, and then a white person highlights the struggles they had, and they still made it. Oh, it's white privilege. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's this. There's always like this is why it was better, easier for you than me. And it's like, well, enjoy being in a shitty situation if you never want to improve.
Yeah.
Because I can't help you if you don't want to be helped. And again, I'm not trying to be white savior, like, oh, it takes me to fucking help you. No, it's like, but if I can help you maybe change your mindset and see that,
Yeah.
hey, we all have fucking problems. And again, if it's unfair for everybody, it may not be equally unfair for everybody, but if life is unfair for everyone, then it's fair for everyone. Especially in a
Yeah.
country like America where all it takes is literally, and I've had this conversation with people where they're like, "You really think it's that?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." It takes a change of mindset, a losing of a victim's mentality, and a commitment to bettering yourself.
Yeah.
If you're able to do those three things, you are going to put yourself in the top 10% of thinkers because you could still be in a shitty situation. You could be like like Dave Chappelle did it in one of his special where he's like, I hate being poor, right? And he goes, no, you're not poor, you're broke. You just don't have money.
Yeah.
Poor is a mentality.
Yeah.
Broke is just a lack of finance. You can be broke all day, but think like a 10%er and start
Yeah.
making the changes now to become a 10%er. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I got to say about it. Stop fucking
That's what
blaming
we think.
Whitey for everything.
Why? That funny thing is
Stop
funny.
blaming Whitey. Dude, it's so funny, man. I be joking about white people all the time like that. I call people whiteys. Like the people that are on TikTok they get offended by when people do like the YT, like the letter Y, the letter T for white. Like they call
Oh.
them YT people, but it's like white
Oh my.
people.
Yes. Yeah.
Like they just type out the letters YT and you read it like white people. And that's what they're meaning, white people. And people are so offended like, "Oh, I'm not a YT person, whatever." And like that's racist. You can't fucking say it. Dude, I use it in my comments. I'm like white people cuz I think it's fucking funny. I think it's funny. I'm like, yeah, whiteys and fucking Caspers,
Oh
like
my gosh.
Milky's Miracle Breads, like I don't know, or Miracle Whips, Wonder Breads. Like I don't know, it's funny to me. It's funny to me making fun of like the names, like the racial slurs for white people. But no, man, you gotta have You gotta be able to have conversations like this. Everything in the world can't be fucking taboo, because then we get nowhere.
Yeah.
There's no understanding. There's
Exactly.
no perspective from both sides. It's stupid.
Exactly. And I talked about it
Exactly.
last time when they was like, "Oh my gosh, why is this black person talking to Trump?" Dude, why are you hating on the black dude for talking to him if you're
Yeah.
talking about the other guy's races? Like, obviously, you have to have a conversation about what people are saying, what people are doing.
Yeah.
That's how problems get resolved. If you think he's that racist, why is he talking to the black person in the first place? If you think about it, he would be like, "Oh, just get out my face."
Yeah.
So,
Wouldn't
and
give
why
you
are
the
you mad at the
time.
black person for trying to do something that you want to do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If he's racist, he wouldn't even give the dude the time to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you want to get your point across, why not let the black man get his point across against the white man that you think is racist?
Right. Yeah. Like that's actually true. Like if it's somebody coming in to have the conversation with Trump or whatever, what if he's literally sitting there saying like, "Dude, you're a fucking racist," and really giving him the fucking business? You're mad at the black dude for doing that? For trying to have that conversation to
Exactly.
be like, "Yo, are you really fucking racist?"
Yeah,
What if
and then
he's
all they
going
see is
there?
like the picture of him, and like, oh yeah, we're good. And they're like, oh my gosh, he's a sellout. He's racist. Just
Yeah. Uncle Tom, what the
yeah,
fuck? I don't
Like you
know,
said,
man.
after he just was ripping his ass.
Yeah, like he could have ripped him the whole way, but then at the end, they just have like a photo, like, "Hey, he just ripped me a new asshole. This black guy hates me."
make
Taking
make
a fucking
assholes great again.
yeah, make assholes great again. Like,
Yeah.
it is one of those things, man. Um, but man, another
Yep.
2 hour episode in the bag. This is the longest one. This is the longest one. Who knew Elon would
Yep.
be so interesting and
Elon
freedom of
Musk.
speech?
Elon Musk. Shout out to that DDG song, Elon Musk. It's a good song.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard it. So
It's good.
go check it out, guys. Another little pause. But yeah, patreon.com/panda media. We're going to obviously continue on with the show, episode 17 in the can. This is fucking cool, dude. We're like fastly approaching 20 episodes. Like, we've been doing this for 4 months now, since January 8th or some shit. I think it was the first episode. I can't remember. But
Nice.
17 episodes. And man, they're just getting better and better, man. I love the conversations that we're having.
Yes.
Like, we're really building something. And I feel like
Yes.
when we actually do like some really good cross promotion, or really like we have a video that goes viral from a clip from the show, they're
Yeah.
gonna have a lot of good content to consume if they want to go back and watch all the episodes, or kind of re up on some of these older episodes,
Yeah.
because in the moment it makes sense, and afterwards, like the Multiverse of Madness predictions episode, like after the movie's out, people are not gonna give a fuck about that video. When it comes down to
Which
something
next
like,
week?
right,
I
when it
said
comes
next.
down to
Yeah, next
something
week.
like uh, Elon buying Twitter, it's like, oh man, what were these guys like? Oh, I really like these guys' opinion. What was their perspective during that moment? When that happened, so they can easily come back and watch this episode, and it makes sense, and it can be like evergreen to kind of, if somebody's interested in our opinions a little bit more. But
They can still watch the multiverse one because they'll be like, "Oh, what did they get right?" Type shit.
yeah, but I mean, maybe
You'll be surprised.
you'd be surprised. But yeah, other than that, episode 17 out. James, Jarrell,
Multi.
we appreciate you guys so much. It sounded like I was saying we appreciate you, James and Jarrell. Like, James, I'm James and he's Jarrell, and we appreciate you, the
From a
audience.
different universe.
Yeah, from another universe, alternate. My name's Mobius, by the way.
Or Samaj since it's backwards. Like
Samaj.
that show.
Hey, what up? Yo,
Samaj.
it's Samaj. Not new. Shouting out.
Not new.
Yeah, like Winston. Not new.
Not new.
Yeah, not new. But yeah. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Talk to you next week. Episode 18 coming at you next week. Again, patreon.com/Panda Media. Check us out. You get it on Monday if you subscribe. If you want the free feeds and audio podcast, you get it on Friday, 9 a.m. on both days. So, see you guys in the next episode.
La Ridge out.